Machine Warlock.
I love it. And Mr. Michael, over to you.
Yeah, today I'll be playing Gervain, who is a human fighter, a Cardiff wanderer, and a ghost fighter at that. That's what I'm playing today.
Excellent. And moving on down to Torn Pixie.
Hi, I'm Torn Pixie, and today I will be playing Eogolith. It's a mouthful. She's a Shadow Fae Warlock.
Perfection. And Kai?
Hey, I'm Kai, and I'm playing Zira, the Halfling Sword Fighter.
Wonderful. And we'll wrap it up with Jesse.
How's it going? I'm Jesse. I'm playing Maurice, a gear-forged polytheist priest cleric.
Excellent. All right. So one thing I like to do as a DM, especially for my players, I have this thing where if one person decides to give us a summary of what happened last episode, you get 2 temporary HP added to your HP for this evening. So once they're used up, that's it. So use them hopefully for this game. It'll come in handy. So who would like to do the recap from last week? Any volunteers?
Me.
Okay. Yeah, go. Go ahead.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened. I was going to say, did you
I was there.
Watch up and catch up? Because I know. Those who were here, anyone want to take a chance?
I'll give it a shot, I guess.
Okay, sure. Go for it, Jess.
So last session we started off on a boat. We were supposedly heading off towards the castle or whatever rendezvous point it was that we were supposed to be heading towards. But we didn't get very far before something in the river decided that we were going to be either a snack or an exercise or maybe both. I'm not really sure. And it started thumping our boat from beneath before extending this monstrous scaled arm to just start hacking and slashing away at the boat. We did our best to try to fight it. We tried to spear it. We tried to fish it. At one point, Maurice kind of hauled people back away from it. All in all, though, it ultimately ended up winning and just trashed our boat. And we, specifically, either we passed out or Maurice kind of froze up on the bottom of the water, walking towards trying to get anywhere in the darkness and the gloom in the bottom of the lake. And cut to black, and we woke up somewhere on an island. Well, obviously, we're not really sure where we are to begin with, but now we're even less sure of where we are. And then we met up with a little fellow by the name, I think it was Anton? And he was extremely suspicious of us, and I was pretty sure he wanted to stab us, or at least was considering it. But ultimately, we ended up kind of having a bit of a talk and realizing that more or less we're on the same side, or at least for now. So he offered to act as a guide and bring us towards this village that we've been looking for. But as that, or actually no, I think it was just before he made the offer, one of our downed companions ended up getting turned into some kind of weird meat puppet for a ghost animal. So that was a good time. And I mean, we put him down, and Maurice set the body on fire, because that's pretty much, I think he's done that more than almost anything else in this entire campaign. Mm-hmm. And I think that's about where we ended up, barring the really specific kind of role-playing stuff that we got into, which was pretty intense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about the best summary I can think of.
I think that was an excellent summary. Just one change. You weren't on an island. You're on one of the shores. You were on the shoreline of the river on the east side of the river is where you ended up. Reversing the map in my head. No, you were on the west side of the river and you need to get to the east side. So, yeah, that's pretty much where you left off. You essentially had Gervain. You were standing off on the side of the shore looking out, and you saw this strange wolf-like creature in the mist that was starting to fade on the opposite side of the river. And you had Anton basically kind of cleaning things up, getting things ready. And essentially, while he was getting the little campsite, for lack of a better word, cleaned up and finished off and making sure that the body of Uri was definitely taken care of, nothing could take residence again and keep going, and shallow grave type of thing, he looked over all of you and he realized, you know what, maybe let's push this to tomorrow to go across the river. And so he actually brought you back to his home, which was basically a very simple sort of camp cottage type of setup. And there you're able to tend to your wounds and take stock of everything you had. But you also notice that Slain was getting somewhat restless that evening, and he seemed to want to keep going out and doing something. But you were managed to convince him, like, no, just stay here and just rest before we go any further. Anton managed to secure a means to get across the river for you, and he informed you that it was going to take, a good portion of the day before they'd be able to get the boat and everything set. So it was going to be the next day when you're going to go. So essentially, you're spending the night in Anton's camp. You meet a few of his relatives. He's actually got a lot of brothers and sisters, and they actually have this little burrow area where they're going underneath the ground. But for you, they've made sure you have a nice place in a clearing that you're comfortable. So essentially, you had a chance for a long rest and to recuperate and to get yourselves back up to where you want to be. And in discussing things with each other about what's been happening, what's been going on, you're realizing that you're already growing and learning things about this new environment. And this is because our players are now at level 2, for those of you watching. So it is morning time, and Anton has woken you all up. You're getting yourselves ready, and he'll basically pull you into a circle and say, so yeah, we have the boat is ready for you. My cousin Bartok's going to take us over. So make sure you just get all your belongings and everything situated. And we're just going to go across the river as soon as the mist clears up, because, hey, you want to know what you're getting into, in my opinion. And quite frankly, I'd rather be sure that we can see what's going on. And he'll just look to all of you and see if you're doing okay. And once again, you have Slain he's been quiet. He's actually been very quiet and sort of drawn into himself. He's just sort of nodding his head. And you get yourselves onto the boat. It's not like the barge you had before where there's a lot of room and everything. You're kind of tucked into almost this, think of like those rescue boats still have on ships. So you're shoulder to shoulder, about 3 deep on either side. And Bartok and Anton will start rowing you across the shore to the other side of the river. And it's actually pretty smooth passage. You're not worried about the rapids. They have this innate ability of just, they're able to get across. Nothing's wrong. And they get you to the other side of the shore. And you disembark from the boat, and as soon as Slain's feet hit the ground, he takes a look at all of you and he says, I kind of feel like I'm going to go and scout things out ahead of time and just make sure, you guys are great. You guys know what you're doing. So I'm going to take a little wander, and I just need to make sure that everything's okay. I got to touch base with a couple things, and maybe I can find some stuff for realize I have some herbs and stuff, so I can do some healing for you. So I talked to Anton. I think I know where we're supposed to be going. So I'll meet you up at I'll meet you in the village, and you guys just take care of yourselves. Okay.
Slain. It's okay. You can go.
All right, thanks. Yeah, you're really good about making people feel better. Thanks. All right, I'll get back in touch with you guys soon. And you're just gonna see him kind of, make sure he has all his gear, and he starts walking across the way and sort of looks over his shoulder really quick, gives you a quick wave, and that leaves you with Anton. His cousin Bartok's already rowing across the other side of the river, and he goes, "Yeah, so I guess it's down to the 4 of you, but then we need to make sure there's another one, right? Because you said that there was a little companion we're going to go find, yes?"
Yes.
Yep. We need to go find our friend. Do you know who took him? Do you recognize?
Well, it was definitely the people of the village down in Old Chick, so we'll just make sure we, it actually can kind of see it almost over the ways that break in the trees. We'll just start wandering down there, and tell you what, why don't I'll do the talking for us. You might go a little bit better just to introduce ourselves to these particular people, as long as you don't mind, unless someone else wants to take the lead and say hello.
I think we might be good trusting you on this one. We didn't do too great with you.
Yeah, well, I tend to be more of the suspicious type by nature. No offense, you're actually pretty cool, but, hey, sometimes you have to stab first, ask questions later. Luckily for you, that didn't happen. So, yeah, let's get going. And he'll hunker down, and he's actually smoothing down those quills again. It's actually one of his little ticks he keeps doing. And he'll look around, and he'll just start walking down this clearing. It's actually a footpath that goes from the shoreline towards this little collection of trees. And you can see there's a break in it where clearly there must be something going on there. So we're going to leave the 4 of you following Anton to there. And we're going to switch over to Shreg, who we are actually in search of at this time. So Shreg, you had the harrowing experience of being on this boat, and you thought, you know what, I'll be safe and just kind of hang out in the back little area where there's this little hut, for lack of a better term, on the barge. And then suddenly, barge is getting attacked. That one swing that hit the back of the barge sent you tumbling and out into the water. And before you knew it, you were getting swept up on the currents, swept down into the rapids. And the last thing you knew is that you hit your head upon a rock and everything went black. And now you're waking up and it's a little bit dark wherever you are, but you can tell that you're stretched out on something. And you hear some movement and you hear some scuttling around, but your head hurts. You're a little bit discombobulated. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna get up, quickly make sure that I got my box. It's here. It's on me.
Okay.
Okay. What do I see?
Give me a perception check. Or investigation if you want to know a little bit more.
That is better for me. Investigation. We're gonna do that.
Let's do the investigation-ish.
Yeah, 19.
19. All right. So with a 19, you're able to blink a little bit. Your eyes are adjusting to the dark. And as your eyes adjust, you see that there's actually another bed stretched out in the same hut. There's actually a few of them. You look down and you're looking at the bed itself, and it's a little unusual. It's sort of this rectangular shape and it's soft, but you realize that it's soft because it's filled with rich soil and moss as opposed to what we consider traditional bedding. And you look across the way and you see in this other bed the figure of Reuniting, and he is sleeping. At least it looks like he's sleeping. And he's in the same type of bed, this bed that has this rich dark soil and some moss put on top of it. And then off to the side, tucked back underneath the window, you see this small form just sort of quickly picking up a few things and has a little water bucket next to them.
Like kind of quietly as a shrug can be, which is not very quiet. Hello. Good morning.
Are you up, sir? And this little boy is going to turn around, and he has these very large, vivid green eyes, very pale skin, at least from what you can tell in the light. And he doesn't stand very tall. He's probably about 9-10 years old tops, but he's also stooped over with a hunched back over his one shoulder. And you notice that as he's holding his bucket, his hand seems a little misshapen, but he's looking at you and he has this look of concern on his face, and he'll walk over to you, and where you're sitting on the bed and his height, he's about eye level with you. You were out for quite a while, sir. You okay?
My head hurts, but I think I'm okay. Who are you, and where are we, and also what happened?
That's a lot of questions you have for me. I'm Douglas.
Yeah. Hi, Douglas. I'm Shrek.
Hi, Shrek. You've been asleep for a while, you know. They brought you here, and they said I had to take care of you, so I got you some water. You thirsty? I can give you some of the water if you're thirsty.
Oh, yes, please. That'd be great.
Okay.
And
and he'll hold the bucket up, and there's a ladle in it, so he'll kind of hold it up, like offering it to you. And you can see again, this hand, it's sort of like he can't grip the handle, so he's using more of his wrist to leverage it up, and his bottom hand's underneath to steady it.
Okay. Yeah, I think shrug with one hand will kind of help hold the bottom of the bucket up, and then ladle some water and set it back. Thank you so much. Douglas, you said they brought us here? Who brought us here?
A couple of our scouts, they saw that there was something coming down the river, and they went to go see what all the stuff was about, and maybe if there was something that needed to be doing, and then they found you, and they brought you back because you didn't talk to anyone. You were just very asleep, and we saw that your head had that ouch on it, and we wanted to make sure your ouch was okay. So they brought you here, and that one over there too. He's not waking up. I mean, he's breathing and everything, but he won't wake up right now.
Oh,
But they're getting the person to help, because sometimes you need people with medicine. They said so. Someone's coming to help with him, but you're up and you're awake. That's good, right?
oh, I hope so. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go check on my friend, who's really not
Who's your
much of a
friend?
friend. Just a person we know, right?
Yeah, he's just hired
okay.
you, so you've known him for about collectively 5-6 hours.
Yeah, no, friend, good enough. So Shrug will go ahead and kind of like walk over to them,
Okay.
and just like gently on Urik's shoulder, like kind of like, hey buddy, rise and shine, good morning. Like shake him a bit.
All right, as let's see if you can rouse him. Do a persuasion. Yeah, let's go with persuasion.
Persuasion.
Unless you want to try and do a medicine. Hey, that's convincing.
No, we're gonna go with that persuasion. That's 17.
Like the persuasion with 17, because that's not shabby. So with the 17 on your persuasion, you see his jaw almost clenches, and he's got this thick swallow going on. Like you can see his Adam apple bobbing, and he just lets out this like you can tell it's not comfortable, and you can tell that he's definitely not doing too well. And his eyes will briefly flutter open and look over towards you. What is going on? Is everyone safe?
I don't see anybody else but us. It's just you and me and our new friend Douglas. They said we fell in the river and they brought us here.
So
Are
just
you
you and I
okay?
survived? No, I'm going to need my rest. I am, and you can see he's trying to move, and it's almost like his limbs just don't want to function. He's been badly battered and everything like that. You can actually see there's this livid bruise that's developing over his one cheek, and his arms also have these abrasions and these bruises upon them. He got pretty beat up, and he'll turn his head and look to you and just kind of say, and at least you're okay, little friend. I should probably rest more and just stay here. But perhaps you, and he'll look over to Douglas. Perhaps you, little one, have more information for us. And Douglas is standing over there, and like his big green eyes have actually gotten bigger. I don't know, sir. They told me to make sure you's okay and make sure you got the water and food when you was. I have water for you if you need the water. And he's holding up that bucket, and again he's hunched over. He has his little clubbed hand going on, and he'll shuffle over to where the two of you are. He goes, there's others. You could talk to the older ones, and maybe they can help get information, but I can stay here with you, sir, and just make sure you get enough to eat and drink. And he'll turn to you, Shrug. And if you want, they know that you're here, so you can go outside if you want to, and I'll make sure he gets water. And he's going to pick up the ladle, and he's actually going to start pouring this water on top of Rurik's legs, like almost as if he's trying to help clean the wounds and doing the best he can with making Rurik feel better. And Rurik just sort of, he has this puzzled look on his face, and yes, little boy, I'll stay here and thank you for my morning bath. Shrek, you seem you can move around okay. Why don't you go find out if hopefully your companions are also doing all right?
Yeah, of course. Douglas, I'll be back. Make sure that Yurik's okay. And I'll scamper wherever the the exit is
There's
to
there's
head
like it's
outside?
an open hut. There's actually it's like a little canvas piece. It's not even like a door itself, so you can push that aside and go out. So you'll go out as you leave the hut, and we're going to fade back over to the other four now who have come up to the entrance of the village. And Anton's going to turn around and look at you and say, "So yeah, you asked if they had interesting traditions. These people, they don't exactly get out a lot, so just remember to each their own. They're perfectly harmless. We haven't had issues with them. My family and theirs, across the way, it's a pretty symbiotic agreement that we have, where sometimes we bring things to them, sometimes they find things for us, but just remember, not everyone is like all of you, but then again, I'm talking to all of you, so maybe this was just a moot point. Here, follow me." And he'll walk into this open courtyard area of this very small village. Do you follow him, or do you want to search a little bit around the perimeter, or what is it you'd like to do at this point?
I feel like I trust him. I would just follow him.
Okay.
Gervain's going to follow as well.
All right. What about Maurice and ALL?
I think AOL will follow as well.
Same. Maurice would
And-
definitely follow.
Okay. All right. So you all follow Anton into this opening, and it's just basically the area's been worn, so it's more dirt than it is any type of grass or brush. There's about, from what you can see, about 5 huts, and it's sort of a loose circle. And in the center, you have probably what's a community fire, because it's actually a large size. Right now, it's just sort of burning on embers. And you think you've actually walked in sort of like maybe garden statues or something like that, because you see these forms of people, although they seem misshapen in some respects. There's one man who has extremely long arms. There's another one of these forms where, the torso is shortened and the legs are extremely long. And they all seem to have like this arms in the air, posed look. And you're going to see smaller children sort of running around and taking care of things around the village. And they'll go up every so often to one of these forms, and you'll see them taking these buckets with water and ladles and sort of watering their feet, if you will, and just moving around that way. And Anton will turn to you and goes, "So yeah, welcome to Olchik. It's its own little place, but they're decent enough." And he'll motion to where you can see these children and everything like that. So what would you like to do now that you're in this open area of the village?
Are the statues moving? Are they actual people? Is that where we're gathering?
You want to take an investigation on that one?
Yeah, I do.
Investigate that one. Let's see what you get.
Investigate.
All right, so with a 16, do you want to walk up to one of them individually, Zira? Or just kind
Yeah,
of
I'll
take
just
it
walk
more?
up to the one with really long legs.
Okay, so you walk up to the one with the really long legs, and upon looking at them, you can tell this is a living person, but they're standing there and they have a very tree-like pose going on to them. Their bodies, it's got some interesting quirks to it. Like I said, the legs are extremely long, and looking at them closer, you see that the eyes are sort of like one that's higher than the other. And they're just sort of, they look at you, they make eye contact, but they've just got this graceful arms up in the air pose going on. So yes, these are living humanoids, but they're all standing there very tree-like for some reason.
And are they like in a line down this area? Or are they in a circle around that fire?
It's not that they're in a circle. They're actually in various places.
Okay.
And just sort of like they all have this sort of affectation of looking like they're posing like trees.
Hey kid. Why are
You
you
talk-
watering? Why are you watering them?
Are you talking to one of the kids?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So this little girl, she'll turn to you and she looks up at you and she kind of wrinkles her brow a little bit confused. Um, it's what we always do. We're supposed to water them and make sure that they get their daily waterings and their food. And she has these very large blue eyes and straw white blonde hair. But you notice on her face, she's actually got this cleft lip and palate thing going on as well. So it's a very lispy way of speaking to you. And she's sort of covered up in bits of rags. It's like burlap and stuff. And you'll notice that all these other figures standing there, they're not really clothed in anything at all. So it's an interesting scenario of these living statues and these young children running around, looking like they're the ones doing the caretaking of these adult forms.
What are they? Who are they? Why are they important?
But they're my pet. This is my mother. And we're supposed to. It's what we do. We're supposed to take care of them, and they honor our God by making sure that they embrace the life of the tree.
Oh. It's not like your mom. It's just your Overwatcher mother, right?
No, she's my mother. That's my mother.
And you'll see this figure's eyes sort of look down to you and sort of like blink in acknowledgement, but not saying anything.
I'm gonna try and speak to the kid and say, "Hey, is there a village elder or someone that we can speak to, who's kind of, I guess, not in charge, but someone who oversees everything here in the village?"
You can speak to Rowan. He's the oldest of us. For he has to honor the God. He'd be good to speak to if you need to. Would that be
Yeah,
okay?
that sounds great. If you could point us over to Rowan, that would be great. That would be amazing.
He should be back soon. He went out to check a couple things. I can get you some food and water if you want to wait.
No, I think we're okay.
Okay.
Is what you're watering them just water? Are you giving us something special?
It's just the water from the river. Sometimes we go to the Cradle Grove and get the water too for special events, but this is just from the river this morning. What happened
What's
to you?
And Zero, she's going to look at you and like sort of trace her face where your scar is.
An accident happened.
Do you need the lady to help you too?
The lady to help me?
Yes, we went to get the lady who does the healing for the people in the hut, because there are people in there.
Like sick
Well, ones
people?
are people. No,
Hurt
we
people?
found them. Hurt people, yes, hurt people found on the shore.
Did you find a little red guy?
The baby dragon.
Yes, a little red baby dragon.
Yes,
Did you find
the
one?
baby dragon. He's in there with the other one. Douglas is taking care of them. Rowan told him to take care of them.
Can I go in there? Will you take me in there?
Well, at this point, this is where we're going to have Shreg. You're coming out of the hut at this point. So you are, Kurt, you're going to see your companions all standing there talking to this little girl by one of these people. And you haven't seen these
and
people
how
yet.
is how's the sunlight?
It is earlier morning. So let's say it's about 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So you have the sun sort of coming in towards the side. It's not full noon yet.
Okay.
So it goes up. Okay.
Yep.
There are trees, so you can get some cover. It's not like it's open and exposed like a beach area. There is trees growing around, and the branches are linking together. So it's filtered, dappled sunlight. It's not full sunlight.
Okay. Yeah. So Shrug will kind of come out of the hut, take a little look around, and then see Shira and Gervain and Maurice and Aowil. Friends! Hey! Hey! And like just kind of like wave both hands around.
Greg, I am so glad that you are not an undead dog.
What?
Well, we have a lot to tell you about what happened in the last day.
Wait, how long were we gone? It's been a day?
Yeah,
Just a bit of a day. Yeah.
Huh. Oh, Euric's in there. He's awake, but not doing really well.
I'm gonna look at everyone else and ask them if they want to. Do you want to tell Uric about his friend?
Yeah, I think that's probably the right choice.
Maybe it
Seems
depends on
only
where
right.
he's sitting. He's not doing well. Maybe we find out what's going on and give him a chance to heal up before we, say, hey, about your brother.
Ewell makes a good point. And can I look over Shreg to make sure that he's not like one of the dead? Because we encountered someone who came up at us, and I don't know if my boy Shreg is dead or not.
I love it.
Gervain is paranoid.
I love to have your brains.
Yeah, you can. I'll let you choose.
What
You
should
can
I
do
roll?
either insight
Okay.
or perception.
I'll do perception here.
Hey, look! Oh, the dice are being nice to you. So with a 19, Gervain, you look down at Shreg, and they seem perfectly fine. You do see that they have a bump on their forehead, but as far as you can tell, they're just very excited to see their friends again.
Okay. I'm gonna try and like caress the bump with like my thumb just to like touch it to see if it like is slightly painful, and if it checks out, which it probably will, just like pat Shreg and I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I'm glad you're okay, Shreg. It's really nice to see you again.
It's like, hey, that's a neat bruise you got. Let me poke it. It's good to see you. It's a little sore. Are you all okay though? What happened? Where's Slain? Slane's with you still. No? Yes?
No, he's
No,
not.
Slain has
Slain-
gone off.
Question still stands then.
Yeah, question still
Slain,
stands. Slane's not there.
Went to go venture forth and check out some things. It sounded like he was lately he's been itching to get out and maybe look at his surroundings or something. He's been on edge, so he decided to kind of venture out. I think he's going to link up with us at some point later, but for now we think he's okay.
Okay. As long as he's okay, and as long as all of you are okay too. No.
Yeah,
no
we're doing
bumps?
great. We got fed. We feel great. We're doing great. We got this. We got Anton to come follow.
Yeah, how
Find you.
Hi, Anton.
Hi, this is Shrug, right?
Shreg, yeah. Shreg is his name.
Forgive me, Shreg. nice to see you up and about. And he'll extend his hand to you, Shreg, and you'll see that he's about your height. He has this long snout with a little black button nose on it and these tiny little beady eyes and these black and white quills. And right now there's a tuft of them sticking up a little bit. But he seems pretty much happy to see that you're there. Happy to introduce himself.
Shreg will clasp his hands with both hands and just shake it like vigorously, like just excited. Everybody's here. It's great. It's a good day. It's fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's totally cool.
Yeah, everything is so fine right now.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you. Make your acquaintance. You're a lively one. Okay, so so I'm just gonna tell you what, you guys have a lot to sort of catch up upon. I don't want to intrude. I'm actually gonna go over and see if maybe I can keep an eye out for Rowan. It sounds like he had to go and grab someone and bring him back for. I guess it's for Yorick. So I'm going to be over by the river should you need me. But you will.
Thanks, Auntie, Aunt Anton. Thanks, I appreciate it.
You can call me Tony if you want. It's easier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Tony.
Is the small child
Anton,
still with us? The one that was watering the tree people?
She's not watering the person anymore. You can actually see she's sort of like taking the soil and where she's gotten it wet a little bit, she's sort of pushing it more back around the feet where this person has been standing. So it looks like they're almost planted into the ground. But she's just very quiet and she's kind of got her head tilted a little bit and you can see that she's listening to you. But she's not interrupting. She's not anything like that. She's just sort of doing her chores for the day, essentially.
Once it seems like Anton is breaking away, Maurice has been like giving this girl pretty constant glances just to see like what's going on. His curiosity is going to get the better of him, and he's going to kind of try to approach her as non-menacingly as possible, given that he's a giant clanking robot man.
Right. Yep. Okay. So yeah, if you want to speak with her, maybe let's go with persuasion because you're trying not to be intimidating. So let's see how that goes with walking towards her.
An apocalypse domain does not help with persuasion, believe it or not.
But with a crit of a 20 and a +3, with 23, you definitely have a nice little advantage here. So, Maurice, as you walk over there, how are you making yourself seem a little less intimidating so you can speak with her?
Well, for starters, he's going to make sure he's got the mace and the shield stowed. But he's also going to actively try to like imagine his inner composition and do his best to like force some of the plates to sort of shift so he's got some semblance of like a weird like happy face, but it's fixed. It looks like one of those comedy masks. But he's doing his best, even though it's probably horrible. But yeah.
Okay. So how would you like to open the conversation? Because you're the one with the true advantage here with the 23.
That's fair. So Maurice would kind of make his way over to her, and he would kneel down to get on like her eye level, or at least the best that he can. And he'd kind of like extend a hand out towards hers, and like in hopes that she would trust enough to put her hand in his. Doing mighty fine work out here, making sure everyone's well taken care of. I can see that. Would be too much trouble if I were to ask you a couple of questions.
I don't mind the questions, but I don't think I should water you because look, you have this going. That's not good with the water.
And she's touching where that rust has been growing on your hand, even though you've been trying to get rid of the oil. There's still those little traces.
I know that sometimes if you put something in the water that's like metal, like you are, that's where it gets the rusting thing happen. So I can't water you, but I maybe can answer questions for you.
Well, I appreciate your concern for my well-being. That speaks loads to your empathy. Now, I'll be truthful. I've only got one real question here. I'm hoping you can tell me the name of this god that you're honoring so diligently with your practices here. And maybe there's a temple for this god. Maybe there's one in town.
The temple? But we honor him here. This is how we honor him.
and she'll motion up to the figure who's standing there like a tree, and you can see that they're breathing in and out, and the eyes, again, they'll look down at you in acknowledgement and seeing that you're there.
It's Peter. He's our god. We honor him by being like the trees.
Peter.
We have to earn it, though. Yes.
And just what do you have to do to earn it exactly?
Well, you have to be good to the forest. You have to be one of the forest. And we're supposed to take care of the adults and make sure that they are able to honor him like my mother's honoring him.
All right. And just how long is your mother supposed to be honoring him like this?
This is just what she does. She'll sleep. She has her bed to sleep in, and then she comes back out, and I help her get ready, and she honors him again in the day, like the others do.
And she'll sweep her hand around the village area, and you'll see all these different people standing in different zones, and it's a very similar appearance. You have these younger children. All of them have slight disfigurements to them. Like I said, the little girl you're speaking to right now, she's got the cleft palate. There's another one who's running around, and she actually has this clubbed foot. So she's hobbling a bit while she's carrying this bucket of water over to a different figure further away. And they all have this very paler skin and it's a beautiful light blonde hair. It almost looks like corn silk. And you're also noticing that they're kind of similar looking to each other too. Like you can tell the features are unique to this village, essentially.
Do I hear
Now-
Maurice speaking to this child?
Oh yeah, you're like not even 5-10 feet away, so you could very much hear this conversation as well. For anyone who wants to listen in, she's not trying to be secretive. I don't think Maurice was trying to be secretive or anything like that.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Gervain would probably ask, child, how did everyone here become so beautifully unique? Was it through giving respects or giving tribute to each other, or has the village always been this, creatively, beautifully unique the whole time?
She's puzzled. She's actually a little confused by this question because she's a young child. She's probably 7-ish.
This is our home, and this is where we stay. It's always like this. Everyone's like this. The healers come to us and they help us, and especially when we have a celebration for the babies, but we can't do that right now because of other things happening. They're saying it's not safe for the celebration. But when we're born, we get to honor him, and we spend the night in the cradle grove. And then we're brought back, and then we're taken care of. And once we're old enough, we then help take care of the others.
Where do these healers come from?
The forest. Rowan brings one to us all the time. She's very sweet. She's very helpful, and she's able to do more than just the watering and the feeding when someone gets hurt or that type of thing. We don't see. I've never seen. Well, you're different too.
Oh yeah,
Aren't you? Yes.
I mean, we all are. And
I like your necklace thing. That's very nice.
oh yeah,
And she'll actually reach out towards the skull that you're wearing.
Okay, I'm gonna pluck off one of the bones that I have on it. Not the center one, but any of the ones on the side of it. And I'll hand her one and be like, here, take this gift. This gives me protection or keeps me, safe, or brings me comfort, and maybe you can do something with it. Maybe give it as a tribute or something.
She'll accept it, and she's got this look of wonder on her face. And as she smiles, even though she's got that cleft palate and lip going on, you can see that, were her situation different and had she been born slightly more intact in terms of her feature, she's got a beautiful little smile with that slight mar in the center, and her eyes light up.
This is very nice of you. I've never gotten a present from someone outside the village. Thank you. Can I give you something? I'd like to give you something.
That'd be great.
I'll be right back. Please stay here. I will be right back.
And she'll hop up, leaving her water bucket, and you'll see her race over to one of the huts quickly, which, again, it now leaves you with just the 5 of you and Anton standing there.
Well, are those people?
Shrek just like points towards the humanoid trees that are blinking and breathing. That's a good morning sight. What's that?
Those are people. Apparently this is how they honor their god, and I mean that's one thing. My concern is who is actually raising the children. Where they get this information on their god from? Do their parents talk to them about it at night? What about this cradle grove and this baby celebration thing? This is all very, very well, as my teachers would have taught me, kind of like an extreme cult type thing. And I'm actually kind of concerned for all the kids.
I don't like to judge others for their religious choices, especially given my own fairly complicated ones, but safe to say that I agree with you on this one. Standing outside pretending to be a tree is no place for a parent, especially not when there's little ones running around. Something not right about this.
Can I go up to whatever one was close? So I guess the little girl's the parent was the closest one.
Mm-hmm.
And can I hold my dodecahedron and let it kind of float and hover around it, and invoking my first level 2 ability, I'd like to use an Eldritch Invocation and cast Detect Magic.
Sure, go for it.
So, yeah, Detect Magic is just a 30-foot area for 10 minutes. For the duration, you sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears the magic, and you learn its school of magic, if any.
All right, so you cast this, and really the only magic you're picking up on right now are your companions, those of you who can cast magic. So they're the ones you're recognizing. There's nothing magical really going on here. These are just these misshapen humans, really, who have this stance of looking like a tree. But as you're doing this, you will see this this form. Instead of like having the arms up in the air, one sort of goes down towards the hip and the other one reaches over. So it looks like it's still sort of branches, like they're mimicking the look of branches of a tree, but they have she's shifted a little bit. She doesn't hold the same pose chronically. So that is what your detect magic has detected. That your friends, yeah, sure, there's some magic there, but no, this is more what they do.
Okay. And I kind of like, I'll let my cube kind of just like float back into my hand and put it away.
There's really nothing magical going on, so I don't understand any of this, to be honest.
Maybe Rowan can give us more answers. If Rowan can't, maybe Rowan can lead us to one of these healers, and they could. Someone here knows more. They've got to.
I mean, Maurice, do you think you know something about what these healers are doing? Or, I mean, we were just both speaking to the child. Did anything come up? Can you think of anything?
Well, for starters, I gotta say, Healing might not exactly be my area of specialty, but pretending to be a tree, not much of a healing spell.
Yeah, these healers that Rowan are bringing back just makes me feel unsettled about what practices they're doing. I mean, you're the only one who seems to be practicing some sort of, any sort of like religion or any ritual. So, not to say that this is what you do, but I figured ask you about, hey, what might be happening.
The thing about the gods is they're fairly mysterious type for the most part. What worries me is that this might not be the work of gods. This might be the work of just some men pretending to be the work of gods. Happens fairly often. That might be what's at work here.
Yeah, I mean, for all of us, I think, definitely what's presented in front of us is not what's really going on. We should be paying attention to, the minor details or what's going on behind the scenes. I think this all starts with maybe that Rowan character.
Well, from what I understand, Rowan's a child as well. So it probably does not start from there. The parents, I mean, they willingly do this. So this has got to have gone on for at least a couple generations.
I mean, is it really all that weird, though? Okay, hear me out. We all become part of the earth when we die. So it's just like maybe they're becoming part of the earth before they die. Maybe?
That just doesn't feel right. Like, how are they supposed to take care of their kids?
Doesn't seem like they're doing much of that.
Definitely seems like the other way around.
Well, and then again, it doesn't seem like these children really have any chances for anything outside of Yurik. I mean, this is where they're at all the time. I don't think they're aware of much else in the world outside of this very small community.
Not knowing about the possibility of better things doesn't preclude being eligible for them, though. These children deserve something better than watering their parents.
Yes, that's kind of what I'm...
For Gervain, I've wandered, being a Cardiff wanderer, I feel like I've wandered, plenty of environments, different sorts of biomes, nature-based things. Can I kind of inspect of like what exactly nature is happening around here? Because if kids are watering parent plants, I don't know if there's some sort of corruption aspect or some sort of overgrowth. Like, I'm just trying to get a feel of what the environment feels like. Is there something I can do to kind of figure that out?
Why don't you do an investigation, and we'll go from there and see what you find out doing that. Oh, okay. So I think with a 5, you're so concerned, you're actually kind of getting almost myopically fixated on the fact that you're watching these children water their parents, looking to see, is this really water? What's really going on? But that's mostly what you're going to pick up. It's this reclusive village in the forest near the riverside. That's all you're getting at this point. So as you're standing there talking, you'll hear Anton in the distance go, incomings, for those of you interested. And you can see he's standing off of the shore because he's probably about 60 feet away at this point from the center of the village entryway, or the area where you're standing right now, not the entryway.
We'll go check it out. Maybe it's
Rowan, right? Is that who we're waiting for? Rowan?
Yes, you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yep. You have Douglas in the hut. You have Rowan who's supposed to be coming. And just as you hear Anton shouting, the little girl comes scrambling back out of her hut. And she goes right up to Gervain, and she has this little thing in her hand.
Thank you for your little treasure. I give you one as well.
And she'll hold up this little peach pit-like looking thing to you that's been polished. So even though it looks like a peach pit, it's got this little gloss to it.
I like to collect the pretty ones.
Yeah, thanks for this. I'll keep it close by. And remember how sweet you were and, you know, how respectful you were of, you know, your parents and greeting us. I really appreciate this.
Thank you. And my name is Peach. That's why I collect them. What is your name?
My name's Gervain, and thank you, Peach. I'll remember you as a good friend, and I hope I get to visit you again sometime soon if we ever come back this way.
She's going to get a big smile on her face and go,
I've never had a friend outside the village. I have a friend outside the village now. That's special.
and she'll look pleased as can be, and she'll pick up her bucket that she left by her mother, and you see her wandering over to another one of the elders performing their tree-like looks in the village center. And again, you hear Anton going, you coming or you not coming?
Yeah, Shrug's on his
before
way. Or on their way.
Yeah.
Before we leave, is there a way that I can try to use Cure Wounds to remove that disability? Or, sorry, not disability, deformity?
I'm liking this idea. How about roll me a d20 first? If you add your spellcasting modifier to it, roll the d20 and let's see if you can get it over a 13. Okay. Go ahead. With a 23, go ahead.
All right, it's actually a
All right.
14. I messed up the first time. I roll 1d20. Or sorry, roll 20 plus 3, but the second time around I did it right with a 14, so that's good.
Okay, so it's a 14. Okay, so you're still good. Yeah. You're still good.
Yeah.
So Maurice, describe what
before
this
she
looks like.
leaves, before she leaves, Maurice would kind of like gently reach out and put his hand on her shoulder and kind of just stop her. And then he would kneel down in front of her again. Again, he's got that weird like fake smile that he's doing his best to look non-threatening. And say, just 1 second, child. I just want you to know that you're doing some great work here. And while I may not fully understand your beliefs, I got to commend you on sticking to them. And just close your eyes for a second for me. And then he'll kind of put one hand on the back of her neck, and then his other hand's going to put up in front of her face, and it's going to start to kind of glow the same way it normally does for his radiant bursts of flame and so on. But this will be a much, much softer light. And he'll kind of just start muttering to himself just beneath his breath. And it'll be really, really hard to catch what he's saying. But like the names of his gods are going to come out. And then the light will kind of whoosh into the girl's face.
Okay. And as you do this, you'll see this light. It almost is glowing around her mouth as well. And very slowly, you're first going to notice the split palate. It starts knitting itself together. And it's almost like the teeth that are sort of jagged on the side. They meet back together and they form into this nice row of teeth now. And then once that sort of knitted itself together, the upper lip, it starts to knit as well. And her mouth becomes this whole simple child's smile in front of you. And she still has her eyes closed. She's not quite sure what you're doing. And she giggles a little bit.
That's tingling a little.
It might feel a bit unusual for sure. Now, I want you to remember, I haven't made you any more whole or any more beautiful than you already were. Just made things a little easier for you, is all.
You did.
And she'll touch her face when she starts speaking.
You made it go away. You made it go away. Thank you. I can get you. Do you want a peach pit too? I collect more. But
I'd love one.
I'll be right back.
And she scurries back up almost double time. back to the little hut she came up before. And at this point, you're going to you can always just turn and start heading towards Anton if you want after you've done this, because she's probably going to take a little bit. She's looking for another peach pit.
Sounds good. Spell slot well spent.
Okay. Awesome. I love that. So after Maurice has done this lovely little gesture for this little girl, you can turn and start walking towards Anton, and you see him standing at the edge of the river, and you'll see this canoe coming towards you. And in the front of the canoe, there is this taller boy. He's not quite a man. You can still see some childlike qualities to his face. He's just about to get the canoe to come up onto the shore and sort of like lodge itself in the sand. And he hops out, and again, he has a slight odd curvature to his back. So it's almost like he stands in an S form as he hops out and pulls the canoe up onto the shoreline. And you see that there's a bundled up figure in the canoe as well. So if you're starting to walk towards him, it's probably you're about 30 feet away, and you see Anton standing, not quite at the shoreline, more like at the opening of the village and just taking everything in. And he'll look up at you and he'll nod. He goes, that's Rowan. He's the kid you probably want to talk to and get some more information out of. He's a good one.
Is there
And I guess
any magical essence coming out from him, or you said within 30 feet?
Yep. There's no magical essence from
Okay.
him, but this bundled up figure in the back, yes.
Okay.
You can't quite see it because there's this cloak pulled up and over there, kind of like what Shreg has going on, but you know, it's a darker red cloak pulled up and over, and just waiting for the canoe to stop.
Okay.
So what would you like to do? As you see Rowan hopping out, securing the canoe, and he's about to go around and help this person out of the canoe.
Hello. Hi. Good morning.
It just Strikes get away all happy
Start
because
waving.
people keep saying this name. Yeah.
Okay.
Because Douglas was kind of talking about them too, eh?
Yeah.
That was like the elder that like knew.
He's like the oldest.
Yeah,
He's the
elder.
oldest child.
you know.
Yeah. He's not an adult, but he's the eldest of the children. It seems the one who's sort of like in the know.
Okay.
So Rowan will turn around and kind of wave, and you'll actually see a smile on his face because he recognizes you. Oh, you're up and about. All right, lovely. Let me help over here. And he'll go over and he extends a hand out, and you see this small hand come out from under the cloak and grasp it very firmly, and these gnarled white knuckles grab on as he helps the person get out and step onto the shore, and the hood gets pushed back, and you see this familiar face, and Maurice, you're gonna hear,
Metal Man! Fancy meeting you here.
and it's Mama Rihanna, who's been brought down to help the village.
Of course she has.
This isn't Tales of the Old Margrave. It's just Tales of the Old Mama Rihanna.
Mama Rihanna. Margreave, I tell ya.
I'm
And,
getting big bad
she'll-
feels.
You're mostly all here. Ha! I was told there was someone who needs my help.
And she'll start tootling over to the five of you. And there's this quick look of concern on her face.
But there's supposed to be 6 of you. Where's the tall one? Where's your friend gone?
He's
He
just
went to
wandering
go-
about.
Oh, little excursion then, huh? But he's okay as far as you know?
He's fine, just nervous, anxious himself from what I know of him.
Right. Okay. Well, why are you here? I thought you were supposed to be working with Rioric. This is not Rioric's area.
Well-
He's here too.
Yeah, he's sleeping on the job.
Rioric's
Well,
here
he's
with
not
you.
sleeping anymore.
Oh,
Not. Whoa. All right. So Yeah, I bet you found this place rather interesting so far, huh? Tell you what.
That's one word
let's-
for it.
Yes, well, tell you what, let's go and see Reuniting. I want to check and see how he's doing. Because it seems I've been brought here for that, though I told there was 2. Anyone else that I don't know about?
Rowan. And Rowan's like, no, ma'am, it was just this little one right here. He was they were sort of unconscious, but obviously not the problem now. And then this taller fellow he's in the hut, and I guess he's woken, which is a good sign, I hope. But it's a pleasure meeting you all. I'm Rowan, and welcome to Olchik. Please come in, and I'll make sure you get some food and such, and see if I can be of any help to you, because I'm sure you have questions now too, don't you?
We have lots of questions.
No,
Like,
yeah.
Lots
a
of-
lot.
So Mama will walk up to you, Maurice, and she'll grab your hand.
It's nice to see you again. How have things
Oh, likewise,
been?
likewise.
Likewise. Let
Well-
me check on you.
She'll turn your hand
kinda-
over.
Cautiously offer it.
Ah. Well, doesn't seem to be getting worse. That's a good sign. No.
That's true, but also doesn't seem to be getting any better, which you could argue is probably a bit of a bad one.
Oh, is that what you think?
So Maurice, I want you to give me a investigation check on your hand.
Alrighty. You've never had a hand.
It's not a hand, it's a fork.
That's a 16 on investigation.
All right, so as she's holding your hand, and Shreg, you're able to kind of, with this whole detect magic thing, she's holding his hand, and you're going to notice that, Maurice, that rust that was collecting on your hand, some of it actually seems to be forming back into metal a little bit. And the rust is easing itself back up towards where your wrist is, as opposed to spreading down your fingers and everything like that. And Mama's just standing there with a smile on her face looking down. And Shreg, you know this isn't Mama's doing. You don't see her performing any magic outside of just being a magical creature herself.
Mm-hmm.
There. That's good. That's very good, Metal Man.
Maurice is confused. He's just going to kind of stare at it for a minute. I suppose it is.
Excellent.
So-
All right.
Were you brought down to be one of these so-called healers? And if so, I'd like it if you could explain to me what's going on with the whole pretending to be a tree.
Oh, yes. This is an interesting place. They worry about me back at the inn. Could you imagine if I did this? Ah! They wouldn't let me out of the cottage. Ah! Right. First, let me check on Reuniting. Give me a few moments, and I'll come back and I'll help you with some of your questions about this little establishment. It's good to see you all, though. Always good to see you all.
And
Good to see you as well, Mama.
Yep, she'll toddle into the village itself, and Rowan will sort of point the way to the hut she needs to go into, and she'll go into the hut, and Rowan will turn back to you, and yes, so we're not exactly the type who have newcomers come here often, so yeah, I'm sure you have some questions for us. Tell you what, come with me. I have some food I can give you all. And I'm sure Mom will be in a minute or two. And let's see if I can talk to you about some things about here, if that's all right for all of you.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
works.
sounds like a good plan. Is there anything we can help with?
Yeah, actually, yeah, I think you might be something of help for me. It's funny, she was chattering about these people who saved her the other night. They did some good for her. And talking about her new pet, too, this Pebbles. She actually wanted to bring the damn thing. Can you believe it? Told her that it had to stay.
Pebbles.
It's, Yeah, it's this
Jermaine,
wolf.
Rebels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one of my friends, I guess, that we've left behind. I would like to see him, but he probably needs to rest up a bit. We kind of rang him through the ringer.
It seemed okay to me. He was quite lively, but yeah, come on over here and we'll get situated. And he's going to start shuffling over to the hut that's actually on the opposite side of where you were, Shreg. So sort of like if you were in a circle, it's going to the other side of the circle. And he'll push back the fabric to the hut, and this is probably where he lives because you can see there's one bed in there. He also has a table in the middle, and there's benches so you can sit down if you would like to. And he'll go over to where there's a very simple dry sink and some cabinets and stuff. You'll see he's pulling out some cheese and some fruits and some other stuff he's probably collected from the area, and he'll place it in the center of the table. Right, so here, have your seat. We have some water. I really only have water if you're okay with water.
Yeah, water's great. We'll take some water.
All right, excellent. And he'll pull out these wooden mugs, and they're all different shapes and sizes because they've basically been made from branches. And he'll set it in front of each of you and pour your cups of water. And he kind of brushes his long. Again, he's got that corn silk blonde hair that he brushes away, and his eyes are that vivid blue, similar to what Peach's were like. And he'll sit down and kind of uncomfortably so because of this curvature in his back. He's sort of like leaning and presses one arm against the edge of the table. So, right. How about you ask me some questions, and then I can tell you about what we are dealing with right now, if that works for you.
How do you become tree people?
Well, it's not that we're tree people. We embrace the life of trees. It's our upbringing. It's our way of life here, and I know we're a little bit different than others because I go out and scout and do things, but it's just our way of life here. It's we're born here, we are raised in a certain way, and then to honor our God, it's quite a thing. It's a calling we embrace as we get older, and every so often some of us decide maybe not, but for the most part we all stay here, and this is home. So it's more that we're being respectful to our God as opposed to, we're not trees. I mean, we don't have roots. And he'll laugh and kind of shows his foot that there's nothing really trailing from it. We're just, we keep to ourselves, really.
So becoming something akin to nature is how it's one of the biggest callings that you can have, to pay respects to your God.
And he'll smile. He'll give you a big smile. Like, yes, that's a very good way to put it. And when you reach a certain age, you make the decision to take it on, or some of us put it off a little bit more than maybe we ought to. But the greatest thing you can do is what they are doing out there.
Does this being have a name of any sort?
Pyotr. He's called Pyotr. Yeah. So what are the rest of you doing while they're having this conversation?
What else can you tell us about this Pyotr?
He's one of the forest. He's a god of the forest. It's respect the forest around us and respect those who help us, essentially.
You said that you were happy.
Go ahead,
You
Zira.
said that you were happy that Mama Rhea was talking about some people to help. Is there something wrong?
And he'll kind of like slump his shoulders a little bit. He go, yes, you see, we have a couple of newborns, and it's part of our tradition that the newborns get baptized in the Cradle Grove. And we can't get there. We've actually just we keep trying, but there's something there that will not let us enter now, and we need to get these babies baptized before they're too old. We're worried that it might anger our god. And we've unfortunately lost one of our own. He went out to investigate, and Ash never came back. So we're hoping, well, I'm hoping, maybe you can help us clear whatever it is that's in the Cradle Grove, because it's where we get our holy water. It's where we leave the babes to become one of us and embrace our life. So it's a bit of a concern now, but as you can tell, I'm in no position really to take on whatever might be out there. And he motions to the fact he's got this S-shaped form, and his arms are muscular, yes, because of the rowing and everything, but his body isn't made for fighting.
I mean,
So these children get baptized into this way of life before they have a chance to choose if it's for them?
They're always baptized. He's confused. He's actually confused by this question. They're always baptized. It helps. It's what we do.
And what about the townsfolk who choose to worship a different god besides this creator?
Not many of them. Some decide to leave on their own. They go out in the world. That's their choice.
It's interesting to me that you conflate a choice of a different deity with leaving the town. Interesting. This Cradle Grove, would you call it a sacred place? Hold around?
Absolutely.
Something to that effect?
Yes, absolutely.
Rowan, what happens to the offspring who don't get baptized in the Cradle Grove? Does any detriment happen to their way of life, whether that be physical or social? Is there any repercussions for not being baptized in the Cradle Grove?
Well, if you're not baptized, you're not one of us, then are you? And he's actually starting to get a little bit standoffish now because he feels like his life is being criticized. He sort of shuts down a little bit and leans back, and he gets silent for a moment. I know that we're not exactly like others, but we do no harm to others either.
No, that's
now,
completely fine.
Right.
We didn't mean to criticize you like that.
All I'm asking is that maybe you can help us, because Mona said that you helped her, and I was hoping maybe we can get someone to see what's happening there.
Douglas, help me and Rurik. So it's the least that I can do, that we can do.
He'll smile down at you. Douglas is a good one. He's going to do very well as he grows up. I might even take him with me on a few of these. Yeah, he's a good one. He's a good kid. All right.
So, at the end of the day, when your parents are done doing their tree thing, what do you guys do then? I mean, I'm just curious.
What anyone would do at night. We have our suppers, we take care of the final things for the day, and we go to bed.
I mean, the kids seem happy. The families seem happy. I don't know. I feel like it's okay. I would like to help, I think.
He'll smile down at you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm on board to help. This seems to be your way of life, and we're visitors to here, so if this is if this is impacting the village, and I guess what we can do is to help you out after helping out two of our companions. It's the least we can do, and maybe we'll get some clarity from helping you folks out in this situation.
I'm inclined to agree with Gervain.
It really would be appreciated. So I just need to go and check with Momo and make sure that your other companion is doing all right. So at this point, because you've been eating and drinking everything like that, you've had a light break of a snack. So he'll motion towards the door. We could always go out and see how she's doing, because I don't know if your other companion will be able to go with you, but it's worth checking to see. And he'll get up and very stiffly sort of adjust himself and shuffle back out through the curtain into the courtyard of this village. And if you follow along with him, you'll see he's going to that other area, Shreg, where you had been in that tent.
Just as a note, I was eating the food but not drinking the water. I was drinking my own water source, but not their water.
Okay. So,
Don't say
did
that,
anyone
'cause
else?
I've been drinking the water. Is there something wrong with the water, Gervain?
Don't drink.
That's what Gervain's doing.
All right. So essentially, for the sake of time, you go into this hut and you see that Mama's standing over Reoric. Reoric's actually passed out again, and she's got this look on her face, and you can tell she's concerned. And who would go in first to the hut besides Rowan?
I feel like maybe I would. I feel like I'm the most accepting of what's going on.
So, Zira, as you walk in there, you'd see Mom, and she turned to you right away.
This one's not going anywhere for a little while. He's been gravely injured. You, my dear. Is he going to?
Go ahead,
yeah. No, he just needs, he needs time, and I need more time to make sure I can care for him properly. It's going to be probably an evening here at least. So it's up to you what you and your companions would like to do, but he's not in any condition to take you to where you need to go.
Well, we're gonna help Rowan at the cradle grove
Yep.
place. Okay.
Oh, the Cradle Grove. Well, yes, that's a lovely little spot. Why do you need to go to the Cradle Grove?
Well, Rowan says that they can't bring their babies there to get baptized, and that's part of their culture.
And that is a concern. That's something very sacred and special to them. Yes.
So we want to help.
Yes. I think that's quite honorable.
Can you tell us anything about the Cradle Grove?
It's just it's a place where it has a magical feel to it, so to speak, but then again, it's Margreave. The trees have a unique way of growing. They're very thick, and then there are these basins that are sort of created out of its older branches, and they're clustered together, and it collects water, and they collect the water from the basins of the tree, and they use that water to baptize their little ones as part of their tradition, which I am sure you are taking notice of already. Aren't you, my friends?
It's a little hard to miss.
Yes, well, for people who like to live the life of the trees, they certainly don't branch too much.
Could say they're fairly rooted in tradition.
Very much so, but Seems to happen, doesn't it, though, when they keep to themselves. I'm sure you've noticed the different deformities and such already. But I am not the one to stand and criticize. I just come to help them as I can. And it seems that you've made your way here to help them as well. The forest works in mysterious ways, doesn't it?
Well, actually, it's probably the Great Machine.
Because, and I think Shrug will start going into like why all of these like perfectly like mathematical machinations, you know, the falling off the boat, the meeting with, you know, Mama Rayana to begin with, the having the perfect stack of pancakes for breakfast led to this moment, put them in this position to make them help Rowan specifically.
Ah, yes, that's an excellent perspective as well, isn't it? Well, if you're going to help Rowan, just make sure you're ready and keep your eyes open. It's a very dense place of growth. I don't know what's there myself. This is the first I've heard of it too. Rowan mentioned that they had some issues on the ride over here, but I think he was more concerned that I could be of help in the medical side of things as opposed to the knock 'em out side of things. So, yeah, maybe someday I'll get to have a little fun again. But for now, if you're going to help him,
And Rowan will sort of nod his head because he's been standing there. He's actually been sitting on that other bed, Shreg, that you were on.
if you're willing to help him, then probably best you get going before dark falls. You have the benefit of there being some sun right now, and you can see things a little better.
It's a good call. We should head out soon and yeah, let's figure this out for them and be on our way.
That's good. Definitely very good. And Pebbles, he says hello, by the way.
Oh, well, give him a few pets for me and I don't know, whatever his favorite treat is. I haven't hung out with him long enough to figure that out.
He seems to like the chipmunks, though that I try to discourage.
Yeah, just give him one.
And-
Just give him like one little one.
All right, one little chipmunk. If you say so. But I need to work on Reuniting here. This isn't something I can do quickly. This is going to take time for him. So for his sake, let me focus on him, and I'm sure Rowan will show you the direction you need to go. But it is good to see you all. Well, most of you all. And I hope I see you coming back. Remember, the forest has its own way of doing things, so be careful.
Rowan,
So-
you want to lead the way?
Yes, if you don't mind, I'd like to get this going. It shouldn't take us too long. It's about an hour's travel. Do you need anything before we go? Any water or anything like that for your flasks and casks or anything like that?
How
think
far are
we're
we gonna
set.
need to walk?
Okay, so no one's drinking the punch? I'm teasing. I am absolutely teasing you guys right now. So you'll
I know that seed
you're like,
planted though.
yeah,
This is a
like-
really solid out. If anybody's like, I'm just done with my character, like, oh, actually, Maurice is going to go and pretend to be a tree for the rest of his life. I'm going to roll up a new character.
I'm not drinking that. So, for the sake of time, you follow Rowan. And again, it's in the area of the woods, and it's actually, one second, please. And it's actually quite nice, and it's just quiet. You hear the birds chirping and everything like that. And then you start heading into, you see it's almost like there's this a path that's been created, and it has some, stones set upon the roadway, not the roadway, but the pathway, with intention. These are sort of like little stacks of stones of different levels, and you can tell that he's starting to walk almost more reverently as they get to this area, but he stops before going in towards this grove of trees. And again, it's very dense, and you can already see that some of these trees have a very thick building of bark, and there's like these ledges that pop out and the branches that sort of grow into each other as you are standing there. And he goes, right, so this is the Cradle Grove. If you can figure out what's going on, this is as close as I've been able to get for the past week or so.
Well, why can't you go further? Sorry.
Of course you catch me as I'm getting a drink of water. Quite. Well, you get closer and then something seems to be keeping us out. And like I said, we've lost Ash. He was supposed to come back with news, and we found him halfway down the path.
I'm sorry.
Luckily.
To your knowledge, has anyone from outside ever been in here?
Well, you have like your random adventurers who come and check it out. It's a different place. It makes sense. Some of them are reverent about it. Others make grand assumptions, and we have lost a couple of the babies that way because people seem to think that they've been abandoned, which is not the case. So there are others who've been here recently. I don't know if that's the case, but this is an important place for us. We'd like to be able to come back and be safe. If you can help us with that, I do have some means to help you with things.
It's not necessary. We just, I think, want to just help.
Oh, you're muted, Zira.
I say it. You helped Shreg. We want to help you. We're fine.
All right. Feel free to go in there. I should probably get back and just keep an eye on everything. But thank you. And I know you say you don't want anything, but at least let me make sure you're well taken care of when you get back to us. Good luck to you. And you'll see he kind of takes a shuffling step back, and there's almost this look of regret in his eyes that he can't join you. You can see that he sort of sighs, this dejected emotion coming out of his, or that he's emanating, and he'll turn around quietly and just walk back down the path upon which he's brought you, leaving you at the entrance of the Cradle Grove. And again, it's very thick, it's very dense. There are these massive trees, and you can see that there's water that just seems to naturally collect, whether it's from the condensation or the rains or that type of thing. And there's wildlife. There are things happening. And but pretty much it seems like it's got this peaceful feel at this moment. But clearly it has been knocked around a little bit. You see that there are some tree branches sitting in the middle of probably what's their area where they do their ritual. And there's a knocked over cradle off to the side. Again, you've been told that they leave their babies out there for part of the baptism ceremony. So it has been, something recently has come through and made a mess of things.
So cradle was meant pretty literally then, as far as there are cradles about. Okay.
There are cradles in the grove. Yes, they're wooden cradles. They look like they've been woven from reeds along the river, and the bases are basically just carved wood to support them, kind of like Moses baskets in their form, if you've seen those before.
Mm-hmm. I think Shrug's gonna go over to the one cradle that's kind of knocked over and try to like right it.
Okay.
Start like cleaning up.
Okay, so give it an investigation then as you're kind of picking it up to move it around.
All right. That's a 15.
All right, with a 15, you'll notice that the cradle's actually been beat up a little bit. It's got this odd, almost, it looks like scratches. And the woven reeds, you can tell it's been slashed a little bit as well. Almost like there's holes and the weave just gave away, which can happen with this type of a formation of the reeds. And it doesn't look like there's any blood or anything on that, but you can tell that this was a piece that was knocked over and just ill treated.
Do you remember how using the focus of study works?
Off the top of my head,
scholar.
For the what? I lost the last part.
I was going to say for the scholar background thing.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure with that one.
Do you think we all should just take up different sides of this and, wait for whatever to come?
Yeah, I think we should spread out. I mean, within eye shot of each other, not too far, and just kind of search the area. We don't have much to go on we haven't got much to go on other than what Rowan has told us. So, I mean, it seems like we're here to first conduct some sort of investigation, and second, to maybe stop what's turning over these cradles and stopping them from their way of life and culture.
I think it'd be best sooner rather than later. We don't know what will happen out here after dark.
Oh, yeah.
Can Maurice try to make an arc?
Why don't you,
Go ahead,
you two
Maurice.
finish up what you're going to say, and then Maurice can jump in.
I'm just going to go ahead and push forward and maybe investigate some other area where I don't know if there would be like some sort of broken branches around or some sort of shrubbery that was disturbed upon whatever coming around here came in.
Okay. All right. Sure. So, Gervain, you can go and investigate if you want to. I'm fine with that. Maurice, what were you going to say?
Can Maurice dip his hand into the water and try to make an Arcana check to see if it's got any properties?
Sure.
And that was a natural 20 on my investigation, just so you know.
All right. Lovely. So, Gervain, as you're going around, you're seeing a lot of debris that's been knocked around. You're seeing that a few of the branches have been broken. You're actually finding there's some animal carcasses as well. There's a couple of birds. It looks like their wings have been broken. There are some squirrels, again, not in the best conditions with their carcasses just sort of scattered around. And it's not that it's not even like it's been for a kill. It's been more for they're dead, get out of my area type of thing, type of situation. Jesse, with your Arcana check at an 11, you get a sense that there is maybe some magic laced into this, but it reminds you very much of the magic you've been picking up just in general while being in the Margreave.
I'm going to communicate to the group. I see a lot of loss of life here, like reckless, careless abandon. It seems like almost that they weren't directed towards the cradle specifically, but just almost maybe a territory kind of primal sort of aggression damage that happened around here.
We make noise, draw it out.
We could do that.
Like set up an ambush.
Yeah. Shreg, you can be the bait in the middle.
Wait, what?
Well, wait. We're right in the middle of a bunch of creeks, right?
I'm just kidding, Shreg.
So-
I would never leave you in the middle.
In the place-
I'm sorry,
well,
you're
we're
breaking
right
up
in the
just
middle
a
of a
second.
bunch of trees, right? Am I? Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm getting you're in the middle and then it goes dut, dut, dut. I'm not getting the middle part.
Okay, so we're sitting in with a bunch of trees in a forest that is said to really not like when we do certain things here, right?
I mean,
You're still in the market.
for the most
Still
part.
definitely part of the market.
I could use prestidigitation
Mhm.
and create some effects. So while I wouldn't necessarily be actually causing these things to happen, it would really look like these things are happening.
What kind of things
So we don't have
to get it to come out?
Yeah, like fires.
But the fire could hit the forest. If we did
Sorry,
something
what
like
was
that,
that?
we'd probably want it contained.
That's why I said make it look like it. It's not that it would actually be happening.
Oh.
Now, Shreg, you weren't here to see it, but I can always contain a fire within myself.
What? Like a furnace?
I suppose you could say that. And then in response, he would do the same thing he did before, which is kind of like half fire the Sacred Flame cantrip, so that he's just kind of like generating heat and warmth. The air above him kind of smoldering as his gears kind of turn and his core heats up and turns red.
All right, cool. So, hold on a second here. I've lost the window. There we go. So yeah, you can actually, if you want to get that going, so you're sort of the glowing furnace again, a little bit more intensely, you said though, than before.
Yeah, but if we're trying to draw this thing out, then yeah.
Okay, and then AOL, you're going to do prestidigitation of some flame, yes?
Rather than doing the flame, because actually that one does create actual flame. We're
Oh,
going to create an odor. We're not going to actually burn the
odor.
forest, so we're still burning.
Okay,
the
cool.
forest.
So what type of scent are you going to try for here?
Forest here has generally smelled very, very damp, right?
Yeah, it's loamy. You get the scent of pines as well mixed into it. And, you know, every so often the smell of, you know, various animals, places where they live, flowers, things like that. But it's you know,
we're not going to create a fire, but we're going to make it smell like trees are burning.
Oh, I like that. Okay, so we have the odor of a forest fire starting up, along with Maurice basically looking like he's starting a fire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to see that and try and climb up a tree. I'm going to try and climb up a nearby. Oh yeah, I'm going to try and climb up a nearby tree to maybe get a better vantage point of if I see this thing coming in, to let the group know and set up the ambush.
Sounds good. You can very easily climb these trees again because of the way they're so gnarled and thick. It's almost like some of them could even be steps with the way these basins are growing out of them. So yeah, sure, you can get up and get into a higher ground. Keep an eye out on things. So Zira and Shreg, that leaves the two of you to figure out what you would like to do while you're trying to figure out what's happening here.
I'll go like opposite side of Gervain and like to whatever that clearing is, just so that there's somebody somewhere else.
Okay. And Shreg?
Can I fit in one of like the little basins and just kind of like hide and wait?
The lower ones you probably lower to the ground, you probably could. Mm-hmm. There might be one you can kind of get like some half cover in, not necessarily fully covered up and like popped in like you would a bathtub. But you could nestle yourself in there, sure.
Okay. Yeah, then I'll do that.
Okay. All right. So we have you all in different places, keeping watch. I'd like you all to give me a investigation or perception. Actually, no, dial that back. Let's do survival. Give me a survival check with everyone.
Okay. I have never rolled as consistently high as I have on this show.
You've been doing quite well, my dear. So we have a 10, a 5, 19, 17, 19. I'm going to do this as a collective thing. So you've been keeping your ears peeled. I myself need to do a quick roll here. So you've all taken your positions. You're all, waiting for something to happen. You will hear just the usual birds, animals scuttling around, and suddenly you will start hearing a rustling sound happening, sort of to the upper northeastern side of this circle of the grove. You'll hear something. It's not the usual birds, more like things are getting pushed around, the snapping of twigs, the sound of footfall. And it actually sort of sounds like a scratching footfall. It's not so much like a muted like thud that you would get of a foot and boot. But you do this. You do hear this.
Sorry, I'm doing really bad today for clicking people.
No, you did.
Can Maurice ready guiding bolt in case it's something ominous, and basically just kind of like ready himself to convert all the energy that he's already got, kind of storing up, into a more offensive.
Sure. What we're gonna do is we'll roll initiative. I'm gonna be a surprise round then.
Who is it closest to? Is the sound closest to where Gervain's in the tree, or kind of where I am, or in the middle of one of us?
Where you're hearing the sound is close to where that cradle was. So, Shreg, you were the one to tip the cradle up and then try and find some place to hide, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're sort of in that northwestern zone of this circle. Sounds coming from the northeastern side of it. Where do you think the rest? You didn't establish direction, so where do you think you guys would have settled themselves?
Maurice is right in the middle, or as close to the middle as he can get. He's bait.
Okay, so just do me a favor here. Okay, if you could, because Roll20 is getting quick and glitchy on me, just tell me what your initiative was, and I'll get that written down. Maurice?
That is a 13. Oh, a 12 for me.
12. Shreg?
4.
4. AOL.
So much for that high roll.
I know, right? Jinxed myself.
What'd you get, AOL?
1 and 3.
Okay. And Gervain?
13. 13.
Great. And then Zira?
13.
13. What's your dex modifier, Jane? Jane. Oh my God, I just combined through Gervain and Zira.
2. Got him.
Okay. Each of you roll a d20 for me, please. Whoever gets the higher is the one who's going to go. All right, so 16 for Gervain and a 15. Man, okay, that was close. Okay, so we have AOL. You start us off, and then we're going to have Gervain, Zira, Maurice, and Shreg following up behind. And I'm going to get myself rolled in there as well. Question mark. Where did it go? There it is. 20. Okay, so there we go. So AOL, after AOL, your question mark is going to come in. But again, I'm treating this as a surprise round. So we're going to get started. So AOL, what would you like to do to get yourself ready for things here?
So I can see this thing, or I just hear it?
You can hear it. You can hear it, and you can hear that it's close.
Okay. Do I have an idea on direction? Like within like a, say, 5-foot range or so if I were to be aiming something.
You know it's definitely in that northeast side of things. It's where you found the cradle at the front area of sort of the ceremonial zone. It's off to what would be, if you're facing it, to your right-hand side at 2 o'clock.
Okay. I'm gonna grab my longbow and I'm gonna shoot an arrow right around that area.
So you're just gonna shoot an arrow into the area just to see what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then
See if I hit
let's do this with let's do this with disadvantage because you're not really seeing anything yet. You're working off of sound.
Okay.
Okay. So, wow. That's a good one. Michael.
Why is she doing better than my ranger? This is embarrassing.
All right, so you shoot the arrow into what you're hearing sound-wise, and there is sort of this opening between some of the trees where it's almost like a little window, and so you've aimed through there, and you will hear a ka-thunk type sound as that arrow is let loose. So find out what the damage is for that.
And
Nice. All right, so you heard this ka-thunk as a thing let loose, and now you will see emerging, everyone, from this area. At first you see this, what looks like it should be a foot stepping out into the clearing of this central grove area, and you'll notice that it's this thick vine-like collection, so it looks like these vines are a foot. And as it moves further into the cradle grove, you'll see this form stepping out. It's humanoid in build. So you see that there are arms and legs and a chest and a head, but you can tell very much this is not a humanoid itself. It's this collection of vines that are twined and twisted and braided and gathered so that it mimics the look of muscles in the legs and the arms, as well as the torso. And there's this collection of leaves that have sort of placed themselves over where it would be sort of hair on the skull. And there are these piercing, glowing green eyes set into the face of this creature. And it also has this open mouth again, and it's all vines. And there's this thicker vine in the center. It looks like it's almost supposed to be a tongue. But you now see what you've been hearing coming from that northeastern space. However, because the rest of you are starting getting ready with things, I'm going to have it where this is all it does right now. Let's see what the rest of you do. Gervain, what would you like to do from your perspective, from your advantage of being higher up?
Am I close enough to jump on this creature from the tree I'm at, or do I need to kind of come down and then make movement towards it?
You're going to need to come down if you're going to try and attack this. Yes, you can't do it from the tree itself.
Yeah. Sure. So I will come down from the tree and then however much movement that takes and then make movement towards the creature.
Okay. How much? What's your movement? 30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
30. That's correct.
30? Okay. So you can definitely come down from the tree. Let's say that's a 10. That leaves you 40, not 40, 20. Whoa.
20? Yeah.
20 more feet to moving. So yes, you can get upon this thing as it's walking in, because the circle itself is really no more than about 20 feet.
All right. I'm going to maybe strike it at its tongue with my dagger, because that's what no, I'll use my hand axe. So I'll use my hand axe that I have. And my shield is up as well. I have both of those things.
Okay.
So.
All right, so you go to attack?
Yep. That's going to be a 19.
19 will definitely hit.
Sweet. And 8 damage.
Very nice. So as you go and you swing your hand axe, where are you swinging this hand axe to start attacking this creature?
Yeah, so hopping down from my tree, I'm going to start running towards it, and then last minute I kind of bring out my shield up, and then I will kind of roll my hand around to go and as mid-run, grab my hand axe and then try and uppercut up with the hand axe towards its tongue. That's what Gervain's going to do.
Okay. So you'll see that your hand axe lands true to where you had hoped it was, and you slash through this area, and you see the vines sort of disengage from each other, and there's this gapping now because of where you have damaged this creature, and it's definitely not happy that you've hit it. But then that takes us to Zira. It is your turn, my dear.
I am going to run across as far as I can get. I believe I only have 25, and I would be across from it. So I only have 25. So I think I'll run to the middle. No, I'm going to run to where Shreg is.
You would be able to get towards the creature, because like I said, it's about 20 overall in this open grove area. So you could go from where you were if you wanted to attack. That's up to you. Or if you want to make it all.
Nope, I want to try to make it all. if I can.
Okay, yeah, no, you definitely could. So let's roll and see. What are you going to use to attack? Your short sword?
My short sword, and I only got to 6.
Okay, so in your efforts to run towards this creature, you try and land an attack with your sword. However, you seem to have caught your foot on a bit of a tree root from one of the Cradle Grove trees, and you trip. However, you don't lose your sword, you don't fall on your knees, you're just not able to get and make the attack as you had hoped. Maurice, we're now to you.
May I fire the readied guiding bolt before the start of my turn?
Okay, so let's see what happens with that guiding bolt.
Oof, that is pretty low. Okay. So that is a 13 to hit on that one.
Okay, so as you release this guiding bolt, and it looks quite effective as it's coming out, but as it gets towards this creature, it seems to just fizzle out and not make contact as you had hoped.
Dang. Okay. Maurice is going to take that as a sign.
Okay.
So he'll kind of like let the flames dissipate, and he's going to kind of start to cool down a little bit, his color returning back towards that like chrome and silver sort of look. He'll run up. Is there a way that I can round it to flank with Gervain?
Yeah, you could flank it. It's just gonna be the point where you and Gervain would only be able to flank, because right now it still has sort of its back towards walking in full. You can't quite get around it yet where it's standing. So you can move up to get ready to flank if that's what you'd like to do. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So
that's fine. With my mace, I'll just run up and is it worth blowing the spell slot? No. Okay. So rather than use the mace, rather than use that, I'll run up and I'll try to hit it with the word of radiance. So I guess rather than the heat dissipating, he'll kind of move it so it directs down from his shoulder and into his hand, and run up and basically just kind of shout at it, and that same white light will aim towards it with that one. So it's going to need to do a Constitution save.
A con save. All right. Let me. The dice roller keeps hiding on me. Let me get the dice roller up, and we'll do. Come here. There you are. Ha! I found you. So a con save. Let's see how it does.
Oof.
So
with an 8. Low.
With an 8, I think this has been distracted by the fact that Gervain just slashed its mouth. And all right, so you are attacking, and it takes 5 damage. Where has this been aimed on its form? Where do you see this happening?
So, seeing the vines kind of retreat and pull back away from Gervain's attack, Maurice is going to try to spread the damage out. So he's still going to aim towards the core, but if at all possible, kind of towards where a limb connects with the torso, in hopes that maybe he can disrupt the thing's physical form. So he'd kind of shoot the blinding light towards maybe its hip area, in hopes of it maybe dissipate the leg from the body? Question mark.
All right, cool. I like that idea. So you see that this hits true to where you had hoped. And yes, the vines in that area, similar to Gervain, but maybe a little bit more, not as clean of a cut. There is this opening that's starting in the vine growth that has twisted and formed to make this creature standing in front of you. And now we are to Shreg. What would you like to do?
Shreg is going to, hearing all the commotion, because I don't think they had eyes on anything, because they're trying to be so small in this cradle, just kind of pop up, and their dodecahedron is floating in front of them, and just eldritch blast the first big gnarly looking twisted thing that everybody else has been hitting.
Sure. Let's go for that.
Eldritch blast that 14.
Okay, great. 14 just hits.
Woo-woo. And we will do 12 points of force damage.
Lovely. So tell me what this looks like as you do some further damage to this creature. Where is it aimed? Where is it hitting? And what does it look like?
So it is not a very well aimed attack. I don't think that's like Shreg's type of specialty. And thankfully, it's a much larger creature. So, there's this dodecahedron that is just mechanical looking in nature, that is glowing. And as Shrek kind of bursts up and is seeing all of their friends kind of attacking, it just kind of like lights up, and there's these little like fits of electricity kind of flowing between Shreg's own fingers and the box, and just this bright flash of pinpointed light just kind of like strikes at the center, because it's just the biggest area.
Okay, lovely. So you see this Eldritch Blast, it aims true and it hits. And again, where this has happened, the vines, they're broken and they're shattered, and there's a little bit of that residual light left from the Eldritch Blast. As it fades away, you can see that these vines are not recollecting themselves. It's definitely doing damage on him. Now we're back up to the top with Eowyn for the second go around. What would you like to do to this crazy vine creature standing in front of you?
I think we're gonna go forward with an Eldritch Blast as well, as it hasn't hurt and I can't rebuke it. Yeah. So.
Okay. That'll hit. You guys are rolling nicely tonight. Dying. With a 23, go for it. 5. Okay. So how does that look with your attack with the Eldritch Blast? Because I know that yours looks a little bit different than Shreg's.
Yeah, so AOL's is like it's like a building up of dark energy. That kind of, it kind of looks particular, and it kind of spins as it coalesces, and then it turns into a beam and shoots out and strikes the creature.
Okay, great. And again, you can see that these vines are jagged and torn up from the damage that you've created from this, and shattered almost into little shards that fall down onto the ground, and they're collecting around its feet. We are now at its turn. And since we have Maurice and Gervain flanking it on either side, it's going to attack first upon Gervain and then upon Maurice out of anger and fury. So the first attack is going to go to Gervain. Does an 18 hit?
Before we find out if it does, seeing that creature swing down towards Gervain, Maurice is like to burn a reaction and spend his last spell slot. He's gonna actually like see the attack coming down. He's gonna reach in and grab one of his gears and like frisbee chuck it to Gervain, and then it's gonna like float right in front of him and create a bubble of force and increases AC by 2, which is Shield of Faith.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay, so with the +2 added to your AC, will the 18?
Damn, it was worth a shot.
Okay, so then what you're going to need to do is give me a strength saving throw. Hopefully you get above a 14. And then I'm going to roll for the attack.
Yeah, I got a 20, so I'm gonna see Maurice's little spear thing come up, and I still get hit, but I feel emboldened by his light and support.
Awesome. So lucky for you, because of that, you manage to not get pulled in by this creature's. It's basically it's this vine that comes shooting out towards you, and there are thorns at the end of it, and they're very jagged and they're large, and they almost got a glow to them, because not a glow, but a shine to them, because of how sharp they are. So as it tries to swing at you, it will hit, and you will take 12 of piercing.
Big vine damage.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Good thing you're meaty, right, Gervain?
Yeah, I got some meat. I got some thickness.
The upside is that shield's gonna last for a full 10 minutes. So,
Okay.
Excellent. And then it's going to go for you, Maurice. 25 hit?
It might, yeah.
It might. Okay. Then you need to make sure you're also doing that same DC save of at least a 14. Perfect.
18.
So 18. You're seeing that Gervain got the same issue with, having seen Gervain getting hit first, you have a slight advantage knowing that this creature is going to come out and swing for you. And you manage to dodge it, and it will do 10 points of piercing to you. As you're trying to get out of the way, it does sort of catch you in a couple zones, but neither of you are grappled, and it pulls its vines back into itself, and it's now looking quite angry. So we're going to take it over now to Gervain. Gervain, your turn.
Anyway, so seeing the vines come out towards me and like dodging it, and seeing Maurice kind of trying to do the same, we're still getting hit and messed up. Knowing that he just slammed me for 12, I'm gonna get a little bit emboldened. I'm gonna attack it once, so I'm gonna come in and try and hit it where its legs are for my first attack with my hand axe.
Okay. Okay.
So that's gonna be that's gonna be an unnatural an unnatural 20.
It's a dirty 20. Yeah, you hit 9. Very nice.
So I hit for 9. And after that, I'm gonna yell out. Yeah, I'm gonna yell out, just like some sort of battle war, and just try and swing and hit it in the shoulder next with action surge. I'm gonna use my action surge, so I should probably post what that means on my little thingy. So,
okay, so action surge. You can push yourself beyond your normal limits, take an additional attack, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and take that additional attack.
17.
It hits. Beautiful.
Sweet. 8 damage.
Very nice. So as your axe is landing true both times, you're seeing that there are more bits of vines falling off of this creature, and they're just laying down, but they're lying around on the ground and everything like that. Its one arm is almost kind of hanging on by just a few pieces of vine now, and it's definitely not looking great at this point because of the damage you just managed to do to it. That brings us to 0. Oh, you have a little. Sorry.
I still have.
Keep going.
Yeah, and so like heavy breathing, seeing him damaged. I'm gonna get some resolve and trying to steady myself, and I'm gonna do second wind, which is my second level thing for being a fighter, and I'm gonna try and heal up a little bit. So I'm gonna roll a 1d10 and add my fighter level, which is 2. So
okay, very cool.
3, a good old 3.
Good old 3.
Yeah, I hate to see it.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Ouch. Hey, it's something. It's something. All right. Lovely. So then that takes us to Zira. It's your turn.
I want to kind of flip my sword around and shove it into the monster as far as it can go, but kind of so that like I can step on the sword. And I want to use my action surge as well, and then jump on that sword and jump higher onto the monster, like onto its shoulder, and shove my second sword into its face.
Okay, well, let's get the first attack going. See how you do, and then we'll do the second one.
Okay. Oh, I gotta do well in the first one, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh well, you know,
Ooh,
it's fine.
Okay. So yeah, even so with the 11, you try that first attack and it doesn't quite land true. So probably change it up again. You still want to use your, does the extra still go right? Yeah, so you can take your second one and see if maybe you can get that one.
Seeing as that didn't work, I'm just gonna take a slice at it.
Okay.
No.
It still misses. So I think you're so focused on trying to get this done, you just can't quite make contact. You're getting close, you're whiffing close to it, so you can actually see that the blades almost get those vines, but they don't make contact for you. Maurice, we are now at you.
Maurice is tired of this thing. He's tired of this forest. He's tired of everything. He's going to see all these attacks kind of missing and not really doing much damage, and the way this thing seems to re-knit itself constantly. So he's actually going to use his action to invoke his channel divinity. So he's
I just want to clear out the wounds aren't re-knitting. The wounds aren't re-knitting. They're actually staying open.
Oh, okay. That's yeah, he's still He still doesn't like it. So much like he did at the bottom of the lake, he's actually going to press his hand onto his holy symbol, but this time it's going to be onto the symbol of Velis. And he's going to start basically just gearing up to a rant. Tired of this forest, tired of these creatures, tired of you people interfering when it shouldn't be. This is it. I've had enough of you. Today is your last day, my friend. And this wave of necrotic energy is just going to radiate out from his hand into this creature. And it is going to take our 3d6 plus 2. Whoops. 36 plus 2. That'd be so nice. So they can do a wisdom save, and if it succeeds, it'll only take half that much damage.
Okay, so let me see what its save does, and we'll go from there. And this is just gonna be a straight up 20. It's not the wisest of creatures. Oh, hurry up. Roll 1. Yeah, we're not going to give that because that wouldn't be good. And so it gets a 4.
So that is going to be a full 13 necrotic damage.
All right, so this damage comes streaming out towards the creature, and it hits it. Let's say it hits it nice and square in the chest. As these 13 points of necrotic damage hit, you see it starting to slump over a little bit because of what's happened. And actually, that one arm that was hanging there is now down upon the ground and lying there lifeless. He's leaning over. The other vines are starting to look almost dried and brittle at this point from the damage you have all been doing to it. Shreg, it is to you.
Well, I'm standing pretty safe in my apparently baby dragon bassinet, and we'll go ahead. That surge of electricity between fingers through the box, and another eldritch blast the creature's way.
Awesome. And
16.
that's gonna hit. That's gonna hit. Very nice.
Another 12.
All right, so where does this eldritch blast hit on this creature?
We'll say because it's kind of like moving around, and like as it's kind of like swinging down at folks, maybe the aim was off a little bit from last time, and it just kind of like hits one of like the flailing arms.
Okay, so as this blast hits the arm, you see the other arm. It basically almost shatters in and of itself and falls in bits and pieces onto the ground. And now this creature it's fallen, and it's almost taken a knee, and it's looking at all of you, not even looking at you. It's just sort of standing there trying to keep itself upright. And that's going to swing us back up for the next round with AOL.
You might be muted.
Oh, you're muted.
Yep.
Have it.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think we're gonna hit it with another Eldritch Blast. It's not looking good. Maybe we can finish this thing.
All right, let's see. All right, so as you go to shoot this thing, it unfortunately goes a little wide, and it doesn't hit as you had hoped. It sort of skims across a couple branches that are hanging behind it, but it doesn't hit this creature. Now it comes to the creature itself, and it is going to try to attempt to have one of its vines shoot out and aim towards you, Zira, but it is going to be done at a disadvantage because of the fact that it is looking so bad at this point. Oh, but we still have, does a 24 hit?
Jeez.
You know, just a smidge hit.
Just a tiny little hump. All right, so then let's see here. Nope, that was my mistake. That's not what I meant to do. What I need you to do is quickly give me a DC save and see how you do with that. It has to be a DC strength save higher than 14.
No.
And oh no. All right, so this vine comes whipping out at you, and it will collect you. And where is my dice roller again? All right, so you'll take on no, that's not it. Hold on, please. And actually, because of the state it's in, its damage is lessened a little bit. So you will be taking... I'm dealing with a lag right now. Sorry, people. You'll take 8 points of piercing from this, and it's going to try and pull it towards you. And you notice that its strength isn't too great as it's pulling you, but because of your size, it does kind of help it pull you closer to it. So it pulls you 10 feet forward from where you were standing. And then that takes us to Gervain.
All right. Is Zero right next to me now because she's being pulled into the creature?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try and grab Zira and yank it away from the creature.
Okay.
Using
So
my
you want
act. That's what I use for action.
All right, you want to do strength on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Check, right?
Yep, I'll roll a check and you roll a check and we'll see how it checks. All right, we got. Geez, you guys are rolling soup with a 22. Let's see what this thing does.
Boy.
Hey boy. It's also, I'm going to take the disadvantage on this. Oh, yeah, 2. So you are able to free Zira from being pulled in further to the creature.
Grab Zira by the shoulders and say, "Let her go," and like rip Zira out of its grasp and spin around and try and use that momentum to allow Zira to open up and maybe get some attacks in, because I saw that she wasn't able to go in last round. So that's what I'll do for my turn.
Yeah, so perfect. So Zira, you now are freed from this creature thanks to Gervain. What would you like to do in terms of your attack, since you're both right on top of it and Gervain has it, so you can still do something?
I'm just going to make another short sword attack.
Okay.
Come on.
No.
Okay. I was going to say, like, I was tempted to give you advantage because you had Gervain helping out there. So the 9, I think it's still from the shock of being pulled from this creature so quickly, thanks to Gervain's quick thinking. You attempt to get the swing in, but you're still sort of caught off guard and you don't quite make contact with it. Anything else you can do at this point, or is that it for you?
That's it.
That's it. All right, Maurice, back to you.
How bad is this thing looking?
It's on its knees. The pieces that are falling off of it now are very brittle and dry and disintegrating as it falls off. Its vine has just been torn into bits because of how Gervain pulled Zira away. So it really is not looking good at all.
Can I have it make a wisdom save? And then if it succeeds or not, then I'll say what I do or not?
Sure. That's its save, a 2.
Okay. So Maurice is his wheel mechanism is gonna roll over by 1, and it's gonna make like a grind, and then when it hits, his whole body is just gonna radiate this like pulsing gong sound, just boom, and it's gonna be loud, very very loud. And if the creature looks at him as a result of the sound, he's gonna say, "This is your last day. I told you it was going to be this way, and now here we are." And then, because it failed its wisdom save, it is going to go ahead and take 1d12 necrotic damage from Toll the Dead. So it'll be 6 damage.
So as this bit of damage comes coursing out of Maurice and towards this vine golem, you see it basically begin to crumble and shatter and dissipate into what looks almost like shards and bits of splintered wood. And it falls into this pile of vines and wood and other natural bits of foliage, and the creature is no more.
I am clearly bugged by the fact that I couldn't do anything. I don't want to be seen as weak since I'm short. So from that hit that I took, I imagine maybe I have a little bit of blood like coming off of my mouth, and I'm going to wipe it and kind of sheathe my swords and just kind of stalk around, kind of minding my own business, being a grumpy, tiny person.
All right, it's just kind of checking things out, making sure that was it, and there's nothing else going on, and having a little sulk time to yourself to regroup. What would the rest of you like to do? You see this pile of mulch sitting where this creature once was.
I'm going to sort through the mulch or like the branches to see if there's any sort of active component to it or something that was kind of getting it going.
All right. So as you're investigating this creature, you actually do find a few things. The first thing that comes up in your hands, surprisingly, is this book. And it has this, it's made of leather, but it's made to look almost like it is vines growing across this book. And it has these two eyes, similar to the eyes that you saw in the creature, again, made to look like the creature that you saw itself. And it's just this simple book. It's got a little lock on it. It's probably about the size of, a standard paperback you'd normally find at the store for us, if we're going to go meta mode. And you find a couple more objects. And the one that you find it's this little interesting doll almost, and it is made of wood as well, and it's sort of, you have the doll's head at the top and then it spans out and goes straight down, and it's just painted up to look like this little maiden. So you have that as well that was hiding in this vine golem. And then one more thing you do find in there is this little ball of green, and out of everything, this ball seems to be protected and preserved. It's not in dried up ruin or cracked or shattered like the rest of the natural vine material that this golem was made of. So these are the items that you have found in this golem.
I'm gonna show the group like, hey, I found this book, a doll and this green ball. I don't know what this will show me or teach me. I feel like this is something that you guys might be better at.
And I'll look at Shreg, Maurice, and Ewell since they're still around here, and I know Zira's off kind of doing her thing at the moment.
Can Maurice try to make an Arcana check on that book?
Mm-hmm.
Oof. That's a big old 5. It is made of vines and I'm a machine. Makes sense.
Yeah, you can tell by looking at it, this is something that must be based in nature, or like
Sure has pages in it.
Yeah, it looks very like it's supposed to be part of the woods almost from the way it's been made. But you really can't pick up much from it, other than it looks like a book that's made of vines.
Not getting any sense of what the heck it might be, I would turn and pass it over to Shreg. Maybe you can make some sense out of this one.
Okay.
Can I mean, it's a book. Does it look like any particular language? I flip through it, read it?
Yeah, you can give it a look if you'd like to, by all means. Want to do an investigation on it then?
Yeah. 14.
Okay, great. So as you're looking this over, it's definitely it's got some sort of rituals and spells in it, and from what you know, it's nothing that you would have been familiar with per se, outside of the fact that you recognize some things being of more druidic in tendencies.
Okay.
I'm not really sure about this. It probably falls under somebody who practices more nature magic, and that's not me.
So I
certainly not me either.
Okay. So what would you guys like to do? You
What
have these. Go ahead.
What if we took it to our arena friend? I mean, they live in the forest on their own. They hold their own pretty well. Those are usually qualities you would find in a druid. I mean, it's assumptive when we haven't asked them if they're a druid. But I don't know, just kind of adds up that would make sense.
I mean, that makes
Seems
sense.
like
You're talking
solid
about
thinking
Mama
to me.
Rihanna.
Let's go Michael and then Maurice.
No. I'm not talking Mama Rihanna. I'm talking about Anton.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so you guys basically kind of want to just take these back and see if maybe someone either Anton or Mama Rihanna can help you out with this. Is that what we're thinking?
Do I multi-class into druid?
Oh, boy.
By the end of this campaign, we'll all be druids.
Right? Like, we're multi-classing. Druid. Okay, so the 5 of you make your way back into the village itself. The children, you can see that they're doing what they've been doing before, and they look at you wide-eyed, and Peach actually comes running up to you quite excited, and she'll stop in front of you, Gervain.
Were you able to help us? Did you get it?
I think so. I think we got it. Have you seen our friends Anton or Rowan around?
Rowan is in the hut with Mama Rihanna and Anton. I think he's in there too. They're worried about your friend. He's still sleeping on the bed, you know. But they're in there. They're in that hut.
All right.
Gervain,
Yeah.
show the items to the little girl. See if she recognizes them. I'm gonna whisper it to him so that maybe the little girl doesn't hear.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Peach, what can you tell me about any of this stuff? I mean, I have this doll, and this little green ball that just, I don't know what to do with this. None of my friends know what to do. Do you know something about this?
They're pretty. I
Yeah.
don't read those. I don't know how to read the book, so I don't know about the book. I've never seen the doll before. We don't have things like this. This little green ball though. I've seen Mama. She's used it a couple times for people who've helped us, and that before, yes, I've seen. I don't know what it does though, but it seems like she likes it. People like it when they get them.
All right. Well, thanks for your
The last time
this
she gave
information.
it to us, she gave one to Ash before he left us.
Okay. Well, if this doll isn't important, maybe I'll bring this back to you if we figure out we don't need it. Would you like that?
I could have a doll. I suppose I
Maybe,
could put
yeah.
in the window to watch me. Yes, I like that.
Peach,
Okay.
who's Ash?
Ash, he's Rowan's friend. He was the one who was supposed to see what was going on and never came back.
Oh. Well,
So she kind of just shrugs her shoulders.
I honestly, I don't know what those do. It's not the things I do. But they might be able to help you in the hut if you want.
Yeah, I think
She's-
we'll
Oh, go ahead.
She's just sort of standing there, so like kids will like shuffle side to side on their feet, and she's kind of just dancing her hands together, checking to see like, do you still need to talk to her? Should she go?
we're gonna go talk to the people in the hut. But no, that was a great question, Zara. Let's try and see if we get more information.
And I'm gonna grab the items, look to the rest of the group, and maybe see if we all want to start heading that way or what we want to do next.
Okay. All right. So if you walk in, you'll see Mama Mariana is sitting there. She's actually sitting on the same bed as Ririk, and she's got a concerned look on her face, and she's more focused on him. Rowan is standing towards the side, leaning up against the side of the hut with his arms crossed, and again, his face is concerned. And you'll see Anton sort of standing near the second bed where Shreg was, and he's kind of taking his dagger and sort of picking underneath his fingernails and sort of making sure they're clean and shaped off, and just sort of shaking his head a little bit too. And as you walk in, their heads all pop up with this look of sudden surprise as they see you coming in. And Anton's like, well, seems that you make quick work of things. That's rather You back already, or do we have to go back for more?
I think we may have taken care of what was preventing you from using the Cradle Grove. We found these items. Maybe you can tell us what they're about, and I'll actually pass the items over to Maurice because I feel like he's probably the person who has, since he's the most religious out of all of us, I feel like maybe he'll be the most sacred in handling them or figuring out if we should trust giving them to the villagers. So I'm gonna, while I'd say and show the items, I'm passing them over to Maurice in the meantime.
Okay. So
Maurice will take them kind of carefully and sort of splay them out, I guess.
Okay. As you do this, you hear Rowan make a sharp intake of breath as his eyes lock onto the little green ball. And Mama Rihanna goes from looking up at you with this look of like, oh, you're back. And her eyes also land on this ball as well. And you just see concern come across her face. And
Oh dear. Well then. I had just sent Ash off with one of those about a week ago. May I look at it?
and she'll reach out towards you, Maurice, to see if she can get a look at this.
Of course it can. Of course it can. Though, I'll be honest, I'd appreciate it if you told me what it was. And then you'll pass it over.
And she'll take it, and she's studying it, and you just kind of see this sad expression. She goes,
whatever it is you fought, unfortunately, it was stronger than what this could do. Poor dear Ash. This is his. I know it's his, for I made it myself. Oh, it's supposed to help should you get hurt or injured. It's supposed to make it a little bit easier for you to heal up a little bit as you get your rest. But if this is what's happened to him, I fear what you fought was something of greater power than I actually anticipated for them. Poor fellow. Shame if it is, it's still good.
And she's just going to kind of hold it in her hand and roll it around a little bit. And then Shreg, she'll look over to you.
Perhaps this will be good for you to have instead.
And she's going to pass over to Shreg this charm of restoration. And again, it's this tight ball of green fronds that are all grown together. And there's one frond that grows up and loops around. So you could almost hook it onto a belt or hook it onto your pack or something.
Keep this on you at all times. It might help you in restoring your vigor, if you will. At least it's something that can do some good for someone else.
Thank you. I'll carry it in honor of your friend Ash.
And Shreg will look over to Rowan.
You'll see Rowan sort of nods his head, and there's a slight smile on his face. I certainly don't plan on going out and fighting myself, and if you're going to be the one facing the dangers, please do, in his name, carry it, and I hope it serves you well. And Gnome, I just put the Charm of Restoration information as a handout for you that you can access so you can see what this lovely little bit does. Essentially, it's going to be something where as long as you're wearing it, whenever you are targeted by a spell or magical effect that restores your hit points, you gain an extra 1 point of HP.
Ooh, all right.
Ooh, yeah.
It's great. I have this little green Bulbasaur, and it will now act as my Charm of Restoration.
There you go.
It's too perfect.
That's perfect.
Shreg, use Regenerate.
That's our druid.
Yeah.
It's the Bulbasaur's your
I'm
druid.
a druid now.
That would be fun. Okay, sorry. Totally like switch gears. Okay, so then you still have this little doll, and someone just put a Bulbasaur in the chat. So you have this. I love you guys. You have a little doll still, Maurice, and you have the book. What would you like to do with those now that the green ball has been addressed?
He would kind of carefully flip the book open, carefully more so because he's intrigued by it. And he would say to Mama Rihanna, "Now, I admit that maybe some of this is going to be a bit beyond my reach, but I'm assuming that it'll make a lot more sense to you. And I was wondering if it wouldn't be too much trouble to ask for you to teach me some."
Let me take a look first, my dear.
And she'll hold her hand out to see if she can take a closer look at the book.
He'll happily pass it over.
Oh my.
And she sits down and she gets this look of extreme concentration. It's almost like she's forgotten you all are there. She's flipping through the pages and she's got one hand like touching her mouth as she's flipping through, and she's muttering,
"No wonder why this has happened. Of course, this makes the most sense. Yes. Oh my, yes, yes."
And she snaps the book closed and takes a very deep breath and is quiet for a moment, and she'll look up at all of you.
"My dears, you just fought yourself a vine golem. It's a rather potent creature. It's quite admirable you made it through, quite frankly, and no wonder why Ash never returned. I know this writing. This is the writing of someone I knew a long time ago who decided to take their own path in the forest. Creating a vine golem is not something to be done lightly. It can be extremely effective when it is yours, but dangerous when it is no longer. For you see, I know that the person who wrote this book is no longer here with us. And you just fought yourselves an unbound vine golem. They don't like to have their areas disturbed. And they'll do anything it takes to keep their areas protected and their own. You are quite a group, you know."
And then she'll look up to Maurice and she's going to hold the book closer to her.
"My dear friend, as much as I would like to help you learn more, this is not an art I feel I should share with you. For I fear that my brethren would be rather upset."
Some secrets are meant to be kept between the right circles. I can certainly understand that.
Yes, this is one of those things where the wrong hands could create the very wrong creature. And while I enjoy your company, my metal man, I don't think the forest would care too much with you trying to make something of it like this.
No, I suppose it probably wouldn't. So I guess at this point, all he's got left is the wooden doll, and he would just kind of turn it over. I don't suppose you can make anything out of this.
Yeah, gimme. Let me see, let me check.
And she'll actually pull it close to her and kind of squint a little bit at it.
Oh, I haven't seen one of these in a while. I had one when I was a child. As I was learning how to do things, my mother gave me this. Well, not this, but something like this. Quite a handy little thing. Actually, a very handy little thing. Especially when you're just trying to learn and do new things and hone your craft.
And she'll take a look at Zira as she's saying this.
And make something of yourself to prove your worth. I think you should hang on to this, my dear. It may prove to be handy to you. Sometimes it's good to have a second chance.
Maurice's torso is going to rotate, but his head will stay fixed at Mama Rihanna, and his feet don't move either, but he'll rotate his body to pass it over to Zira.
I love it. So Zira, she's looking at you and
take it out of his hands, but like kind of looking at Mama in the eyes, like, how do you know? And I'm not just, thank you, very quietly.
You're welcome. That's a little Matryoshka doll. You can open it up and you can see there's one stacked into the next, one layer after the next.
And if you wanted to, you can actually open this up, and then if you roll me a d4, you'll find out how many of these little dolls are in the Kruska dolls.
Oops.
That's okay.
You know. Wait. Why is it not working?
Do here? Tell you what, I will do it for. All right, so 2. So as you take the doll and you open up the first layer, there's another doll, like she said, nestled inside. If you take that one out, you'd open it up, and then there's one additional doll nestled into that. So you have a total of 3 of these dolls that stack into one another. And Mama Rihanna's watching you, and she's got a smile on her face.
3rd time's a charm. At least it was for me. 3's a good number, my dear. Keep that safe. Sometimes, you know, you might have to take it out and remind yourself that you're learning and you're trying, and you can always try again.
So basically, I'm going to get this set up for you as well, Zira. This is going to go into yours, the Matryoshka dolls. It's a wondrous item, and essentially, each of these dolls is going to allow you to re-roll as a reaction on a failed save. But once you have used the doll will disintegrate, so then you're left with whatever doll is left.
I'm gonna look at the doll, and it was like my eyes are watering a bit. And me and my brothers were 3. That was a good number.
Yes. 3 is an excellent number. I like the number 3 myself. I hope they serve you well, my dear.
Thank you, Mama.
I'm glad to see you all back. However, I see that you do need some care as well.
And she's taking in your wounds and everything.
Perhaps, if you don't mind, stay here for the night, and I'll tend to you all and make sure you are in better condition. Reuniting needs to rest. I've done what I've could for him. He needs a good night's sleep. I say we look at things with fresh eyes in the morning, and we take it from there. How does that sound to you all?
Yeah, it sounds great.
You've helped this village more than you realize.
So Mama will just sort of pat Reoric's leg, and she'll stand up, and actually Rowan will kind of help her a little bit because, you know, tottering little old lady.
Right then. Well, let's get some supper into you. I will go through and take care of those who need the care and make sure you are on the mend. You should be proud of yourselves. You did something good today for those who cannot defend themselves. You've made some of them even more happy than they thought they'd ever be.
And she'll look directly at you, Maurice.
Some who thought they would never feel whole.
Maurice will kind of give like a little half bow, not really wanting to take recognition for it.
Mm-hmm. And then Aowell, she'll look at you.
And some of you are learning to take in everything. It's another good thing, my dear. Question, always want to know, always gather information. That's smart. Very smart.
And she'll walk out of the door at this point, and Rowan will turn to you all, and Anton's kind of sitting there like, well, this was a fun little conversation. I'm actually, don't mind me, I'm just going to go off and do my own thing tonight. You guys enjoy your time together, but these people kind of give me the heebie-jeebies. I just want a little bit of peace and quiet. And he'll walk out as well, leaving you just with Rowan. And Rowan tries to straighten himself up as best he can, still with that curvature in his back. I know that we may not seem like the most normal for what it's worth, but sincerely my thanks for helping me and my people out, because Many of us were worried that we had somehow angered our god. But I think your being here has shown us that he's still listening. Follow me, and I'll make sure you get a good dinner. And we'll essentially have it where he holds the curtain open for you, and you all file out again. And he'll lead you back over to his hut where you were before, and you had sort of that lunch snack type situation. And he's got a table, and he's made a lovely meal for you. It's some cooked up vegetables, stew, a little bit of fresh bread, again, some more of that cheese as before. And somehow he's managed to get some wine that he's put into the glasses for you with a little bit of a sheepish grin. I know the water seems a little bit dodgy, but I thought maybe this might be good instead. And we'll leave it with the 5 of you basically sitting down, enjoying your supper, and then Mama Rihanna will tend to those of you who are wounded. And you find yourselves in your own little huts where the children have actually kind of peeked in every so often and giggled and made sure you're comfortable. But as it gets to be night and it quiets down, you drift off to sleep, thinking your own thoughts and pondering how on earth you've even come this far and where you're going to go from here. And that ends episode 4 for tonight. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. I thoroughly enjoyed running games for you guys. You're so awesome at roleplay.
Thank you. Good
Oh,
gosh.
you're very welcome. So yeah, we're actually going to be off next Sunday because a few of us are going to be at different conventions. I'm going to be over at Keystone as one of the guests. So we're trying to run this from a hotel room with their internet. Heck no. Not the greatest thing. So what we'll do is we're going to go in opposite direction. Please tell us who you are, where we can find you, any projects or things that you have coming up, and then we'll send you on your merry way. So let's jump down to Jesse. Sir, tell us about yourself.
My name is Jesse Neon. I'm playing Maurice. My favorite part of today's session would probably be being able to fix that girl's palette. That was pretty cool. I can be found on Twitter as @JesseNeon, and the only project I have upcoming is that my book is going to be for sale soon on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and all that fun jazz. So when that happens, maybe pick it up.
Yeah, and
That's
when it does happen, make sure you
amazing.
plug it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's absolutely wonderful. Congratulations. So yes, Kai. No, it's to you.
I'm Kai. I'm Stonefly Kai on everywhere. You can just check me out on Twitter to see what I'm doing. That's probably the best place. And then my favorite part tonight was V doing Shreg, or not Shreg, Slain.
Oh, Slain. Doll. All right. Thank you so much. Torn Pixie. Oh, muted. Good choice of microphones.
Someday. Okay, so I'm Torn Pixie. You can find me here on Twitch as well as on Twitter. On Twitter @TornPixieTwitch. I run a couple games on my channel. I also run a podcast, and I have a walkthrough I wrote up for captioning on games such as this one. So you can find all that stuff in Twitter mainly.
Wonderful. Fantastic. Up to you, Michael.
Yeah, my name is Michael Sinclair. You can find me on Twitter as Michael Crits and on Instagram. My favorite part of today's session was the interactions I had with Zira in combat. That was pretty fun. And let's see, I don't have any projects right now, but check out my social media. I just need to be up to something. If y'all are promoting projects, I feel like I should just get on a project. So look out for something soon? Question mark. All right.
There you go. Peer pressure. Absolute peer pressure. Why not? The gnome, my dear.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and it's just awesome to be back. I was so sad they couldn't make it last week. But as far as like a favorite part goes, I think it's just being back literally and seeing everybody how they interact, how they use their magic, and just a little more cohesion from like episode 1 to where we're at now. It's just really fun to witness and watch everybody develop individually and as a group. For me, though, my name is Nomadic. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, and I am literally all over the internet doing something too much. Like every night, there's something going on. Sunday nights, I am here. So obviously, come hang out with us. Mondays, you can actually, tomorrow is the season-ish finale, maybe? I don't know. We're trying to sneak another episode in over on the Greyhawk channel, where I DM a game called The Grove Where We Met, which is a Feywild adventure based off of Florence and the Machine songs. On Wednesdays, you could catch me on the Rise of the Demigods, which is a podcast / stream over on the Godsfall Twitch channel, or just at demigodsfall.com. And Thursday nights, I play a like Anton's cousin. I play this big old, kind of guy who's got big hams for fists, and it's a game called Men of Letters, where I just punch eldritch horrors. It's great. It's fun. That's over on Unmade Gaming, and that's what I'm doing right now. Probably forgot something, but yeah.
All right, fantastic. So that brings me, I'm V. I am the crafting muse over on YouTube, where I try to paint miniatures, make terrain, and lovely things like that. I'm also a very active player over on Scraticus Academy, as well as Mini Terrain Domain. And this coming weekend, I'll be at Keystone Comic-Con as one of the guest panelists. I'm doing 3 panels Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Come check it out. We're talking about getting into streaming, both as casual play as well as professionals. So hopefully, if you're in the Philadelphia area, be sure to check it out at I think it's KeystoneComicCon.com, something like that. You can do the Google things and find it. And that is pretty much it for tonight. So thank you so much, everyone in the chat, for sticking with us and watching. I've loved seeing reactions going along as we've been running this. And I cannot wait until our next episode, which will be 2 Sundays from today. So take care, everyone. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you later. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See ya.